All right, welcome to the Fresh Perspective. My honor to have Gianni Russo here with me today. A lot to talk about. Living legend is here with me, and I don't even know where to start. I was saying, welcome to the show. First off,
Thank you for having me. I appreciate
appreciate you
it.
coming out. Um, it's funny because I don't prepare much for guests because I like having genuine conversations. I like learning things on the spot so that it's real when we're having a conversation. I mean, obviously,
Well, spontaneous always works. So
yeah, I just like it being authentic. I don't want to have to ask questions I know the answer to. But I just feel like with you, there's so much going on that I had to actually take notes before just to make sure I touched on everything because you've lived a life of 20 men, it seems like,
I've
and still going.
I've been on the street since I'm 12, literally.
So for those who don't know, maybe I don't even know where you would start, but maybe give a little background of, your upbringing, where you came from, and how you
Well,
got
I
started.
originally started in Little Italy till I was 6.5 years of age, and then I got this is my second pandemic. So I went to I got polio in 1949.
You had polio.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I went into Bellevue quarantine for 5 years. I stayed there.
From 6 to 11. Wow.
Well, I 6.5. I got out when I was 12.
Jeez.
I got there in the summer. My birthday was December 12th, which is another whole story.
What was that like having polio?
I've survived it. 2,700 kids in my ward didn't.
Holy shit.
And it took 3.5 years to get a vaccine, which I worry about this one made in 9 months.
Yeah,
That's
tell me about
crazy.
it. But what does polio actually do to your body physically?
It affects different people different ways. Me, it was my whole left side of my body. Fortunately, I had the strength of my right side.
Was paralyzed.
I was paralyzed.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
I was paralyzed for 4.5 years.
And you're lucky you got it back. It's not a guarantee it gets back, I'm assuming.
What's that?
It's not a guarantee it comes back, I'm assuming.
Oh no, it's not no guarantee at all. I mean, a lot of kids didn't even survive it. It hits different people in different ways. Some people get respiratory with the iron lung, and some people. Mine was all elasticity muscles. It hits
Strange.
different, and yeah. So I just was able to. I have no residual.
And one day you were just fine?
No, no, it wasn't that at all. No, I just kept building on it and building on it, and
And we're building your strength up.
yeah. And the good news, like I said, my right side was great, so I was able to drag myself around and basically used to crawl all over the place and get on rails. And I worked out with elasticity muscles to build my muscles. I worked with rubber bands and bicycle tubes and just would hold them out as long as I can.
That was the physical therapy.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
my physical therapy.
How was it being at Bellevue? I only hear horror stories about that place.
Well, I tell you, I walk past there still sometimes to get, I walk a lot.
Yeah.
And going past that building, tears come to my eyes. It's the old building's still there. My building's on 30th, not on the East End.
Okay.
That's all new, but the old building's still there. In fact, I'm going to be using it in my series that I'm doing.
So you're coming out with a show, a movie, or is it what do you call that? It's like a 12-part series.
Yeah, it's a mini series.
I guess someone like you, they can't sum it all up in one show. You had to have a multi-part series for your life.
Well, yeah, they tried to make a movie out of it. In fact, David O. Russell, who's one of the best directors in the world, he wrote it. Then he realized he couldn't
Cram
get
it in.
there. Well, he wanted to get the highlights, and even the highlights in my book. I mean, I could have wrote 3 more books, but you're only allowed so many pages, which I can't believe I have a book out, which has really done well. It's
Yeah, that is the Hollywood Godfather.
Hollywood Godfather, My Life in the Movie and the Mob.
Where can people find that book?
That's the best place to get is on Amazon, I guess.
Like anything else, I guess, in the
Yeah.
world now.
It's Amazon. It's I also did the audio book. It's in its 7th printing.
Your own voice?
Yeah.
That I like. I can't stand when they read it in someone else's.
Oh, they wanted to, and I said, "Are you crazy? I ain't doing this. I'm coming to do it."
Yeah, you got to tell your own story.
Yeah, it's too sensitive for somebody else to read it. I don't know how they would even do it.
Yeah. So you're 12 years old. You got to Bellevue. Then what?
Well, I was attacked in Bellevue, actually. I was warned by Dolores Barone, who was my floor nurse, as I was getting older. She said, "You got to watch out for this one aide."
Oh, it wasn't someone that was a patient. It was
No,
Someone that worked there.
Yeah, and I knew nothing like kids today. My kids know everything. I have 9 boys, 2 daughters,
Holy shit.
and 10 grandsons. But these kids are so into everything. They just be on iPad and all that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that way with us, you know.
You got
Yep.
attacked by an aide while you were 12
Yeah.
years old?
Yeah,
How'd that go?
I killed him.
Well, okay. Well, can I hear the story? Are you allowed to talk about
Oh
it?
yeah, of course, it's in the book. No, I wrote this book when I was 75 years of age because I had to wait for a few people to die, and I didn't want to have any problems on the street with certain people. And I wanted to tell the story just because, like I just mentioned, the amount of children I have, they all think that they're, you know, entitled.
Yeah, that's this
There's
generation.
nobody motivated.
Well, the problem is, in my opinion, is that life is just so much easier now. It's hard to not be entitled. You know, if you haven't seen any other way,
Well, yeah,
everything-
it is and it isn't. I mean, if you're born to wealth, it's easy.
but even relative, like if right now, if you're born in lower middle class to poverty now, you have some of the amenities that rich people from 100 years ago couldn't even dream of.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, just television, phones, everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
it's
So
much-
poverty is
yeah.
all relative, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we even the poorest among us have it pretty good right now. You know, even worldwide, people coming out of like destitute, like really bad poverty, no running water. Those numbers are getting smaller and smaller every year. I mean, obviously, there's still a long way to go, but so I'm sorry, I have to get back to the story. 12 years old, you're in Bellevue. You have half your body working when this happened.
Yeah, my body's working at that time. Yeah, thank God. My
Yeah.
right side.
Okay, so but still, you have only half a body to fight with at this point.
Right. But what happened to me, I've always had an intuition of strange things. I was dragging myself. They encourage you to get out of the bed. They won't give you a bedpan, nothing. So you drag yourself out and get to the rails. And I was in no hurry going back to bed anyway. So one night, going to the bathroom, there was one of those porter's brooms in my way
Okay.
that you use in the theater mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So I just threw it under my arm and dragged myself
Like a crutch.
to the bathroom. I couldn't use a urinal because I couldn't stand up.
Wow.
So I always went to the 4th toilet. And I broke the bristle off in the radiator. And I used to sit there and sharpen it in the
Like a
ground of the
prison
floor
shank.
tile. I don't know why I did it.
Oh,
And
thank
then-
God you did.
Don't tell me about it. And then when I left, I used to put it under the radiator. It was hung on the wall. So I put it on that. And then one night he came. They said he would, and he did. And he was trying to convince me that, how do I say it politically correct, that his penis was a Tootsie Roll. And I said,
That's a tough sell.
yeah, hello.
Fuck.
But what he didn't know that right at my right hand was the broom laying on the floor. So while he was concentrating on trying to
Sell you.
taste it, and I just had that, and I glided with my gimp arm, and the way I was sitting, it hit him under his rib cage, and my right side, even now, is still strong, and I just hit him right, and under his rib cage went right to his heart. And he was running around the bathroom. He bled out.
What a fucking shot.
Yeah.
And he
Well,
died right there.
I've been so blessed. If anybody reads this book, and a lot of people have, fortunately, it's crazy. I mean, how I've survived being kidnapped by Pablo Escobar and run over, shot. I mean, everything. It's crazy.
I knew we were gonna have a lot to get to today. So I'm at least hoping for your sake at that point. That's your first dead body you seen, first murder you saw.
Well, it was the first dead body because in our ward, if you died before therapy,
Yeah.
when we'd leave or they left, I didn't leave.
You saw people in the hospital dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
But even at that age, at 5 or 6, 7 years old, to hear these gurneys coming and going, I mean,
horrifying.
it's devastating because you didn't know if you were going to get out.
Yeah.
I was already an altar boy, so I was questioning, why is God doing this to me? You know, because I went to church with my grandmother every morning. It was that kind of a thing. So
Where's your family at this point? When you're at Bellevue, they can't see you.
quarantine.
So
no,
polio is contagious, like respiratory wise. Like you can
everything.
really.
They closed all the swimming pools, public drinking water, everything was long. I mean, major situation.
So you couldn't have contact with anybody for those years.
Nobody.
Damn. That's
The only person was Dolores Barone, who was my floor nurse, and she was from the neighborhood. She was Carlo Gambino's niece.
from Italy.
Yeah, and she was a candy striper. And by the time I get out of there, she
What's
was
a candy striper?
They were a nurse in training.
Okay.
They wear a red and white uniform, so you know who's the nurse, who isn't. And I don't think they even have them anymore.
I don't know.
But she really, took care of me, and believe me, I needed it because I was getting so depressed early on.
I can imagine.
Like most kids were, they gave up. A lot of them just gave up eating everything, and just went on.
I mean, I know grown men that wouldn't be able to survive something like that. So I can't imagine being 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old and having to deal with that.
Oh no, I mean it was crazy because it's
You're in a mental prison at that point. You have no iPad to play with. You're sitting there with your thoughts all day.
you don't even have a television. It's
Yeah.
not like today. You go
No.
you go to a hospital. It's like a hotel.
Yeah, no.
Watch television all day, do whatever you want.
Wow.
But even that turned out great for me, though. It's so crazy. With everything that's negative in my life, and that's why I wanted to write the book. In fact, the last sentence in the book is "Yes, you can." That's the last sentence. Because if I did what I did, anybody could do it.
Yeah.
And I've been very successful. The little I know about you, you're an adventurous guy, and that's what you got to go do. You got to invent yourself.
I believe in that 100%. I like to create and I love to get after it. And there's a lot of people that talk in this world, and then there's people who actually go and do. I just try to be one of the people that go and do. So when I have an idea, I just go out there and do whatever I can to get it done.
I know, and you will be very successful because of it.
I hope so.
It's crazy. I mean, again, I've had maybe 12 careers. I just keep, like during pandemic, I reinvented myself. I have to. I have all the Corleone digestibles.
Like probiotics?
No, I have.
The food.
I have Clemenza's meat sauce in a jar.
That's fantastic.
Jenko olive oil, all that stuff. I've owned it, which is great. It's a major company.
Yeah.
But I was in 1,800 stores before the pandemic, just launching it.
So what'd you have to do to reinvent yourself there?
I went online.
Direct to consumer.
It's
the only way to go now.
Which I'm doing now with a clothing line. I'm selling liquor online, 42 states. Nobody has a liquor license online, 42 states.
And that's the Godfather vodka?
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Now I'm coming out with prohibition booze.
I like that.
Because I'm having trouble getting ships in from Italy now.
What, is it wine?
Everything. Well, my olive oil is from Sicily. My balsamic vinegar is from Modena. So you can't get chips. You can't get chips anymore.
I can imagine right now.
There's just so much going on.
What part of Sicily is your family from?
I'm Mezzo Siciliano, Mezzo Napolitano.
Okay,
my grandmother's from Naples. And
yeah.
My grandfather's from Sicily.
What part? Do you know what part of Sicily?
Adona, from the hills.
Okay, yeah, that's what my family. So I'm first generation American on my father's side. Oh, wow. My father was born in Sicily. Came here when he was 5 on a boat. What's the name of the ferry that sank? You know what I'm talking about? It was the ferry that was going back and forth from Italy, and it sank.
Oh, I didn't know about that. No.
Yeah, a few years after he took it.
How old is your father?
He is 71 this year. He just turned 70. Yeah, 1950.
I don't know. I mean, I've been back there a lot.
Yeah, but he's from so Colazzano is the name of the town. It's about an hour from Palermo. Okay. So everyone knows Palermo. Yeah. But so 12 years old, you just killed a man. Right. Before we even get out of Bellevue, what happens at that moment?
Well, at that moment they came. In fact, Dolores was on duty that night. She threw a blanket over me, took me back to my bed. Then they brought me up to the psych ward for 72 hours.
Jeez.
And I didn't know what was going to happen, but and that was I can't wait to film because most people don't know about the psych ward. We're in holding there for 72 hours. You're totally nude in
a padded room,
a floor that's concave. Everybody's in the room. Men, females, old, whatever.
What the fuck?
And then they come and hose it down because people are just urinating and doing what they have to do.
Jesus.
I said, it's going from bad to worse.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they came and they said, we're going to release you.
I guess
Good.
Dolores vouched for you.
No, they didn't want anybody to know. There was no thing about pedophiles at that time. And this guy was attacking a lot of kids.
Yeah, I'm sure you weren't the first one.
I wasn't the
The
first
last one, though.
Yeah, that was definitely the last one. No, but the thing is that, so again, I felt, I had this conversation with Pope John Paul. I got very close to him, if you know anything about my life. And
The Pope.
the Pope,
yeah.
yeah, John Paul is my man. But
How the hell did that
I've known
happen?
3 popes. Well, we'll get into that. I've known 3 popes in my life, and I really got to like this guy. And one day he said to me, "How do you justify what you've done in your past?" I said, "Well, like you, I'm a disciple of the Lord." He said, "What?" I said,
I'm doing God's work out here.
That's right. I said, "Everybody I've taken out were bad people. I didn't kill anybody good."
And it seems like justified self-defense, at least in this case.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, the last judge I was in front of, I did 3 that I got tried on, 3 murders. And the last judge, he said, "I don't care if it's self-defense or not. If you come in front of me again, you're going to jail." No, because they taught me early on. They said, if you get in a beef, let the guy, hurt you. The last guy slit my throat, 82 stitches. He missed my throat. See this?
Yeah. Wow.
My chin was hanging. It was agile enough. But
Hold on. So we got to take this back a step just so I don't lose my place here in the timeline.
Yeah.
So now
that's 88, though. That was my last.
So when you're 12, this is in the 1960s?
No, 12, no. I was born in 43. Hello.
Oh, so it's the 50s.
It's 54.
And you got out of Bellevue at 12 years old, and now you're no longer contagious, and you pretty much beat polio?
I don't know if I was contagious or not. They just let me out. They
Yeah.
wanted me to get out of there. And, and with that said, I didn't go home. I was so pissed at my family. I was confused, not pissed.
It's a lot for a 12-year-old to digest.
Yeah, to say like, why didn't they come? Why didn't somebody come?
Yeah.
And
So where'd you go?
I went back downtown. My grandfather's best friend is Funzi Magnotti. He had a bakery. So I went to him. I said, Funzi, everybody knew me. And the word in the neighborhood spread that I killed this guy.
This is the 12-year-old who beat polio and a pedophile before teenagers.
Yeah, before a teenager. But not only that, my uncle was a legend out of Sicily, Angelo Russo. They hung him in 57. In 47 in Palermo when they were doing the whole crackdown on La Cosa Nostra. So Carlo Gambino, Frank Costello, the names I'm going to tell you here, Vito Genovese, he sent them all here.
See, I was a strange kid. I studied mob history as a kid. Like, I know I was in school. That's like what I was interested in my whole life. And I always say, when I was younger, I used to be disappointed that by the time I became of age to do anything worth in my life, the mob was pretty much irrelevant in the country. God. But now I look back and it's fortunately, by the mid-90s, it was kind of a dying breed.
Well, the new, I had the privilege of watching it all develop. I went to work for Costello when I was 13.
This is right out of Bellevue. You start working with Frank Costello.
No. I went to Magnotti's Bakery, and I was making bread at night. And unbeknownst to me again, I'm mixing 50-pound bags of habas by hand. I wouldn't use the machine because I wanted to build my body up. So doing that is like dynamic tension.
Yeah.
And then again, the coal ovens baking the bread, there was no humidity in the air. So I have no rheumatism, no arthritis. And then the bread had to be out by 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'd sleep there. I'd go in the
At the bakery.
In the bakery, underground. I slept on the flour bags. And then I'd go out in the street. And they had ballpoint pens, just came out. A guy called Leo Rabinowitz on Delancey Street had a stationery store.
What do you mean they just came out? They were just invented?
Just invented.
Oh, shit.
That's how. No, they just came out with ballpoint pens. And this guy was so excited, telling my grandfather. My grandfather had a club in the neighborhood.
But before that, it was just what, like?
Ink pens, inkwell.
Oh,
fill the pen up.
Okay.
No, it's crazy. That's why the old desks in public schools had inkwells. And they used to get the girls' here and dip them in the front of them.
It's before my
There's
time.
long before your time. No, that's why I feel antiquated sometimes. Even my little kids, you know, I have sons. My Antonio now is 4 months old to 58 years old.
You have a 4-month-old son?
No, my grandsons.
Okay.
I have 10 grandsons.
How old are your sons?
My oldest son's 58.
And the youngest?
My youngest is 25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then I have two daughters. My oldest is 52 and 23, Adriana. But then I have all these kids that, but what's unique, 10 mothers made these kids. So,
Oh, boy.
which made it more fashionable.
I'm sure.
In fact, somebody this year said to me, I'd like to invite you and your family for Thanksgiving. I said, well, how big is your house?
Yeah.
He said, what do you mean?
You have a hotel?
He said, I just want your family. I said, how big my family is? He said, no. I said, we're 39. He said, 30 me, 39. I said, well, I have 10 mothers. I have 11 kids. That's 21. I have 10 grandsons. And then the siblings. There's 39 of us.
And they might have other kids, I'm sure. Some of the mothers have other kids.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I know every kid. Believe me, my kids show up.
No, I'm saying the women that you have kids with.
Oh, no. I don't know about that. No.
They have kids with someone else?
They never got married. None of them.
So you're like a Sicilian Mormon.
Was that?
You're like a Sicilian Mormon.
Yeah. Well, I created something. I was my own worst enemy because as I got into my third or fourth child, my lawyers said in the third trimester, we should figure something out here because you're going to go broke supporting all these kids. Unfortunately, I didn't, but I was making good money. But we came up with an idea in the third trimester. We would buy you a house in the custom you were used to, not a mansion somewhere. And you had that house and you governed your kids' trust. You got 15% a year, and whatever contributed to the trust, she managed. None of them got a job. None of them got married. They love it. And they,
I like that format, though.
They get a new car every 2 years. It's a lot cheaper than later on, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, Pacino's going through it now. When Pacino did Any Given Sunday,
He's getting divorced?
She did.
Oh, boy.
No, when we were doing Any Given Sunday, I think it was like my 40th film I made. Beverly D'Angelis got pregnant with twins. And I said, Al, how are you going to handle this? He said, oh, no, she won't create any problems. I said, Al,
They all do.
get a piece of paper. Now the twins are 17. And he's still paying her a ton of money.
One more year. Countdown for Al.
Well, not really, because they can go to 25. They
Really?
stay in school.
Oh, yeah, college.
Hello.
Oh, boy.
Hello. I got a son who's going to school. He's 31 yet.
Yeah, he's milking that.
He ain't going to work.
So you're sleeping in the bakery at Magnati's. How does that transition to Frank Costello?
I got the ballpoint pens, and I exhausted downtown. I was going to,
Selling them on the street.
sell them. No, I came up with a clever idea. I was selling them on the streets. And then I remember I used to see people with paydays come with real envelopes with money. They didn't get paid by checks then.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the couple of banks, like Marine Midland Bank, Mr. Pinto, and I got the schedules of when you got paid.
And shut up on payday.
And I'd show up on payday.
Very smart kid.
Which was all scattered. And so I'd go to different offices three times a day. But it got to be that after a while, I'd walk up to these girls, or even a guy, and they wouldn't even say no to me. They just opened the drawer and they had so many pens.
We're good. We're good on pens for now.
So one day I went uptown. I took the N train at Canal and Broadway and got off at 59th Street.
With a briefcase full of
on
pens?
the park side. And I walked, and there was the Sherry Netherlands. I stayed there for 2 years in front of that door, man. I made more money on that door. And every morning, a guy called Frank Costello would come and get a shine. He'd cross town. He was living at the Majestic on the west side. And he'd stop there, get a shine.
What, his shoes?
Excuse me?
Get his
for a shoe
okay.
shine, yeah. That's a big thing years ago.
Yeah.
And these guys were like dressed to the nines.
I'm sure.
So
Did you know who he was?
I didn't know who he was. No, I was like 13 going on 14.
But you could tell he's important, probably.
Yeah, I knew. Well, everybody looked important up there. They were all dressed well, not like the neighborhood. The neighborhood, everybody was in work clothes until Sunday when they went to church.
Yeah.
These guys were going to church every day, it looked like. And every day he would come, give me words of wisdom, give me a hug, and always touched my left shoulder the way he hugged me. Never took a pen. Give me $2, $5, or just like $100 bill, and walk on. One day, I'm downtown. I used to go see Gambino, and I'm leaving. Ferrara's Bakery. It was open in the 1800s. It's still there.
Yeah.
On Grand.
Yep.
Right next to Grand is Joe's store. It's still there with all the Catholic.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. It's still there. That's right.
So I walk out and I see the Lagorna with a hunchback on it. I never saw it. It was a Lagorna and there's a hunchback with a little top hat. So I went in out of curiosity because I had every artifacts thing there was. And I said, Joe, what's this? He said, I just got him from Sicily. I said, why is it a hunchback? They said the Sicilians are superstitious, touching a cripple. Well, the blood drained from my face because I thought this guy liked me. That's why he was touching me. So now that day I leave and I'm going to the train. I had about 3 blocks to go. And they were selling rabbit's feet at the train station. So I grabbed one for like 10 cents. I took a pink one, I put it in my pocket. I go up there and I'm waiting for him to come like clockwork between 10:30, 11 o'clock. Here he comes. And the guy who I thought was his friend was his bodyguard, I found out that day.
That's a shooter.
So he says to me, hey, how are you? This, that, and the other. And I said, I'm great. And he goes to touch me and I move. And he looks at Blackie. He goes to touch me again. I move. He says, what's the matter with you? It's not the matter with me. I said, what's the matter with you? He says, what are you talking about? I said, what do you think? I'm some kind of freak? He said, what are you talking about? He said, you know who I am? I said, I don't know. I don't know who you are, and I don't care who you are. I thought you liked me. As you're touching me for luck? Yeah, I got you something. I gave him a pink rabbit's foot. He couldn't believe it. He says,
you're 13 at this point, right?
Do you know who I am? I said, you asked me that already. I don't care.
Probably like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, so he's saying, listen, I don't want you doing this no more. What's your name? Oh, he asked me that first. He says, what's your name? I said, Gianni Russo. He says, who's Angelo Russo to you? And he says, my uncle. He says, oh, yeah, when'd you see him last? I said, when did I see him last? I said, you know my uncle? He says, yeah. I said, well, then you know I didn't see him. He said, how would I know that? Because they hung him in 1947 in Sicily. So he says, Blackie, take that cigar box. I said, you ain't taking my cigar box. He gives me 3 $100. He had a wad this thick. Gave me 3 $100 bills for about $10 worth of pens.
Which must have been like 10 grand back then.
Yeah. He said, you never do this again.
What, sell pens?
Yeah. I said, whatever you want me to do. He said, you know where the Waldorf is? I said, of course. He said, I want you to be under the clock in the lobby tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning. I was there at 10. I didn't want to make sure I didn't miss him. And I stayed with him until 73.
He took you under his wing, right there.
Right then and there.
What year was that, you said?
This was 54, 55.
So you did 20 years with him?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But he told me the next day, when Blackie, his guy's name was Blackie, he always sat in Peacock Alley.
What's that?
It's a bar area and lounge in the Waldorf Astoria. He'd sit there and hold court there for a couple hours a day, and then he'd do what he got to do. But he sat me down and he said, your uncle was so responsible for so many of us guys coming to America. And he sent Costello's father here. Costello was young when he got here. Carlo Gambino came when he was 17. He was already a made man in Sicily. Did you know
17?
That? At 17.
Jesus Christ.
No, but they were
17
well,
years
they
old.
were young then. Well, you know, Capone was running his whole outfit at 30 years old. They were all young guys, tough guys. And they
Savages.
were sent here to take down the Moderano. You did some history on early mafia. They were here to take down Moderano because he was taking advantage of the Italian immigrants.
Yeah, that's one of those weird things that you hear about, because a lot of times you get, obviously the mob is glorified in a lot of ways, but then you have some people have a different outlook on it because they
They
might have
make
had
money.
bad people in their neighborhood who took advantage and break their windows and whatnot. Poor immigrants are trying to make a
Oh
living
yeah.
and get abused.
No, I mean that's why the history I got, and fortunately, because I've never been in the mob. I've been around the periphery of the mob, traveled all over the world for them. I moved. They said $800 million for them over the.
Allegedly.
Excuse me.
Allegedly.
No, no. I mean, they could say whatever they want.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations over. I was a legal bond. They bonded me. I became a bonded courier. I started moving so much money out of Vegas and moving it to the Vatican.
When did you move to Vegas?
They moved me to Vegas. I moved to Vegas in '59. I didn't actually move there. I was moving around. They brought me down there, to babysit Senator John F. Kennedy, to watch Peter Lawford and Sinatra, who said they could control him while they were grooming him to become president of the United States.
Hold on, I gotta get this timeline straightened out now. So you with Costello starting in the '50s,
Yeah.
mid-'50s. How long were you in Little Italy with him or in New York with him?
I was in New York with him, and I started traveling in '59, like I just said, because that's when they were going to groom Senator John F. Kennedy.
So a few
become
years
president.
later.
A few years later. But I was always making trips with him. He knew
And how
he
old are you
could-
at that point? You're
I was 17, 18.
holy shit.
Yeah. I'm sitting ringside at the Copa room at the Sands Hotel watching the Rat Pack two shows a night. And they're talking to me from stage. And nobody knew my name. Most people didn't know my name until they did The Godfather. They called me the kid. He introduced me to, I'm sending this kid,
I'm sure you're stuck out like a sore thumb being that young around all those kind of people.
but I was dressed to the nines.
I'm
already.
sure, yeah.
That guy taught me how to dress. I mean,
Costello.
my rings got bigger, but I started with one character.
Yeah.
No, but this guy was more than a father to me, and even Carlo Gambino was very close to me.
So you never reunited with your family after that point once you came out of the Bellevue?
I took care of them. I saw them. I didn't respect them. I mean, I had funerals for them, bought them houses, sent even my sister's kids to school. That wanted nothing to do with it.
But basically, these mob figures became your family.
What's that?
These mob figures
my
became
God,
your
yeah.
family.
And then when they created the syndicate, I started traveling to Chicago, me and Tony Ocado, Maya Lansky. So I was with this group till they all died.
The Mount Rushmore of
Oh.
mobsters. Holy shit. So you're 17, they send you to Vegas. And that was under the pretense of you're going to be working with John F. Kennedy?
No, just want me to watch what they're doing.
Okay, you're there to learn.
I didn't do nothing. Not to learn. I had to report back to him every Monday or Tuesday. I'd come back to New York.
Fly back and forth.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I was taking a bag of money every time. I didn't realize they were skimming money already then.
From the casinos.
But nobody's going to bother me,
And back then the airport's different, right? They
No,
didn't
we didn't
check
care
you.
nothing. I get on the plane to Mary Jane. They didn't care. No, I mean, and everybody got to know me. The kid. And that was another, I mean, they were so smart. And then as I became 18, when I was at legal age, he sent me to Chicago with an envelope. He said, you're going to go meet a guy at the Palmer House. His name is Sidney Korshak. I said, okay. He said, give him this envelope. And then whatever he tells you to do. I said, okay, whatever you want. So I land there.
This is Frank still.
This is Costello.
Yeah.
Sending me to meet Korshak. I didn't know who Korshak was. So I gave him this envelope. He reads it. And then there was I think maybe 10,000 as a retainer. And he signs it. I sign it. And he gives it. And I said, what's this? You should just retain me as your lawyer. He said, now from anything you say to me going forward, it's client privilege.
Privilege, yeah.
And then they brought in Ocado. They brought in a lot of guys. Sam Giancana, all the guys that I was going to be traveling for them also to get this whole thing organized, to get all the Teamsters, culinary unions, international longshoremen, Marcelo in New Orleans, Anastasia here. They
So this
needed
is-
all these votes to get Kennedy elected.
And then was the steel in Chicago, right?
Oh, yeah. But the idea was the deal he made with Joe Kennedy. See, he and Joe Kennedy were partners since Prohibition in the 30s. They made millions and millions of dollars. And now Joe approached him,
Make my son president.
right?
What a fucking ask.
Yeah, but you know what the deal was? What do we get for it? We'll invade Cuba, give you all your casinos back, because Fidel Castro already invaded and threw them off the island.
They want to get the hotels and casinos in Cuba.
They already had them. They got thrown off.
Get them back.
They were partners with Batista.
So that's the real reason I went to fucking Cuba. That's the real reason for the Bay of Pigs and all that.
Yeah. And Bobby, the brother, that's the mistake John made.
He didn't play
He
ball.
made him attorney general.
And then he didn't play.
He hated him. Well, you know, it's like having he basically was a change of life brother. He was the last brother.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, goody two shoes. He hated his father's friends and his brother's friends. He went after everybody.
So that was, I guess he was more of a...
The righteous guy.
Yeah, like a white collar guy. He didn't like the dirty history of the
He's
family.
going to clean everybody up. But anyway, we're doing a lot of American history here.
But you're running around the country with money. That's your number one gig at that point.
Yeah.
And what was that? How did the Vatican tie into that?
That was later on.
Okay.
We were moving to, then Vegas got bigger than ever because we didn't get Cuba back, obviously. And they started building Vegas. I was in Vegas.
You stayed there?
I was in Vegas for 30 years.
Holy shit.
I left in 89. January of 89. I was there exactly 30 years. But I was in and out. I had two great clubs. I opened a club called Tiffany's in the Tropicana Hotel. Yeah. I had Elvis open that one. And then I opened State Street, which was insane.
Another nightclub
with a casino.
How did Sinatra, you said Sinatra before when you were mentioning Kennedy, how did he tie into that equation?
Peter Lawford was the brother-in-law.
Okay.
Sinatra loved John F. Kennedy. And they were great friends. I mean, I've seen John F. Kennedy doing lines of coke as a senator off of Julia Prouse's nude body in a pool. I mean, it was craziness. And I'm saying, this guy's going to be the president of the United States. I couldn't believe it.
And they shared women too, I guess. Huh?
Oh my God, did they ever? I mean, Jack and Trotter's pool at night at the Sands Hotel was gated. He had a private home on their grounds. But at nighttime, that place was like till sunup.
Jesus.
Because I saw everybody. I mean, Ava Gardner, Marilyn Monroe. I was already with her 4 years by then. But all those
You were dating Marilyn Monroe.
I was not dating.
Well,
we were
what I mean.
friends.
Yeah.
Everybody else was dating her. I wasn't dating her.
Yeah.
I was just keeping her company when she was lonely. I was 16.
Not a bad gig.
I met her when I was 16. She was 33.
You could have wrote the whole, there could have been a whole book and a whole movie about you before you became of legal age.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was crazy.
Between polio, murdering someone in Bellevue to save your life, working for Frank Costello, running around the country, and at 16, you're shacked up with Marilyn Monroe in Vegas.
No, Marilyn Monroe happened here.
In New York.
They caught me on the streets. I was 15 and a half.
It was before you went to Vegas.
Before I went to Vegas. And I was, picking up edges at all the barbershops and all that, all the numbers, bringing them to the Wyndham Hotel. Then I'd go meet him at night at the Copa. And I'd be running money around at night for the different games they had going. And one day I got caught by a truant officer. And I knew he wasn't a cop. Yeah, because I was supposed to be in school.
Do they still have truancy officers?
I don't think they even have them now, but this truant officer in a brown uniform came up to me on the street. He said, "How come you're not in school?" I laughed at the guy. I had about like $5,000 in my pocket. I said, "School? What are you talking about, school?" He said, "You got to be in school. How old are you?" I said, "I'm 15 and a half. He said, "Oh, yeah." And he starts writing me out a ticket. I said, "What's this for?" He said, "I got to give this to you. Well, give me your address." I gave my grandmother's address because I want to give it to my mom and father. So now I'm going to Toots Shores on 52nd Street. That's where I was going with the 5,000 for Costello.
You didn't search you? Thank God.
You can't search you. No, truant officer can't search you.
Right, those guys.
And if you could try to search me, I'd break his fucking arm. Are you crazy? I was responsible for. I'm sorry, I cursed.
No, you can curse all you want.
Oh,
Free range here.
I was carrying money. I didn't care about nothing.
Yeah.
I'm responsible.
And they don't have guns, truant officers, right?
No, they have nothing. Nothing.
It's like a
they look
meter
like an
maid.
idiot.
Yeah.
They look like an ice cream man with a brown uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the Salvation Army, one of those kind of guys. So I had the ticket in my hand, and I walk in, and at the bar is like Frank Gifford, who's this star of the Giants at that time, Jackie Gleason, Joe DiMaggio, everybody hung out there. So I walk in with the ticket. And Costello said, "How'd you get a ticket? Walking too fast." I said, "I don't know." And he took it. He says, "This is, you're a tune-up. You're a truant. How old are you?" I said, "I'm 15 and a half. He said, "How long you been working for me?" I said, "About 2 years." He said, "You got to go to school." I said, "I don't want to go to school." He said, "I'll straighten it out."
He didn't realize you were underage?
No. Well, he didn't even care. He didn't put two and two together.
Yeah.
So the next thing you know, I see him. He says, "I put you in Wilford Academy. It's on your route
What's
on
that?
Broadway." Wilford Academy was a hairdressing school above Lindy's, which was one of my stops. He just stopped there in
What's
the morning.
Lindy's? Why does that name sound so familiar?
Lindy's was a great diner and restaurant, 24 hours on
still
Broadway.
around?
No. But that was like a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the next morning I go there. I had to be there at 9 o'clock, like for school. There's 20 or 30 gorgeous looking broads there. I stayed there every day until 11.
I love school.
No, I love school. It was crazy. But they came in one morning. Kenneth, who was like the best hairdresser in the world, he was Senator Jackie Kennedy's. And then she built him when she became president. She built Kenneth's fam. And he had
Kenneth who?
Kenneth was his name, Kenneth. I mean,
That's the hairdresser?
major.
Yeah.
I mean, major guy. He worked for Lily Dashay on 56th and Park. So they were there for Shampoo Boys. And there were two raccoons, him and his partner. And I looked good, and they figured, "Oh, I'm going to get this kid. Some shot. Forget about it." But they told me the teacher said you go there, and it counts as school time. But you get tips. And it was Lily Dashay. I used to pass it all the time. Because Lily Dashay was 56th and Park. I'd go down that street a lot, make a right, and go to the Waldorf. I always saw limousines, all these classy women. I always had an eye for women, even when I was a kid. And I thought, I'll go. And the fourth head of hair was Marilyn Monroe. I couldn't believe it.
The fourth person you did?
Fourth head of hair I washed. But what nobody knew, when Costello and all them went home, I really had nowhere to go. And that's when Paramount Pictures, the theater on Broadway, was open 24 hours a day. So I used to go there. I got to know everybody. They give me popcorn. I go in the balcony. I watched Some Like It Hot 10 times already. I wouldn't tell you what I was doing on the balcony at 15, watching this broad. Forget about it. And now I'm washing her hair. I couldn't believe it. And I don't even know how long I was looking at her. Because, the maid brings her in. They put a smock on her. Then they prepare her. Then you go in, and you got to test the water on their wrist. I mean, a very high-end thing.
Yeah.
And she liked a hard shampoo.
You're pampering them.
Yeah, and so I'm rubbing her hand. She's more like we're having sex. I get an erection. I'm poking her in the ear because my three-piece set's on her shoulder. And I'm watching her, and she's moaning. I'm saying, "This is Marilyn Monroe. I can't, who am I going to tell? Nobody believes
Nobody's going to believe this, yeah.
But the funniest thing, I get an erection. Now I got to towel dry her hair and walk into the station. And I got this stupid little uniform on. So I'm walking behind, and they were all laughing. Then she started requesting me, and that was it.
How old was she at this point?
She was 31 at the time.
Oh, shit.
But she was amazing. I mean, just the fact that she was Marilyn Monroe.
I mean, yeah, she was the girl.
Big sex symbol, yeah.
Yeah, she was the woman.
But it was crazy. I mean.
And that continued until you went
died.
to Vegas?
No. Oh, yeah, we kept seeing, we never let anybody know that we were friends,
But when you went to Vegas, she was in Vegas also?
She was there, yeah. She was there until, in fact, we were at the inauguration again. I went to the inauguration.
For Kennedy?
Costello wasn't going to go. I went. I was sitting like fourth from there because they all knew, this guy could go anywhere, and they gave him the best tickets. So I had a tuxedo on. I'm sitting there like 17, 18 years old.
With Marilyn Monroe?
No, she was, they were scattered all over. I was just sitting with her.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just there. But
for Kennedy, right? This is
just Kennedy. And I
saw
Nixon, Eisenhower, all of them on stage that day when they were bringing them in. I went to every party because Sinatra emceed all the balls. There's 4 balls.
Wow.
That's when he had that
prime Sinatra.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, he created that song for him, the campaign song, High Hopes.
I didn't know that.
No, it was great, man. No, it was. I mean, I understand. Here's a kid.
Was the rest of the Rat Pack like still in the
Oh my
picture?
God!
Though?
Oh, they were all together.
Yeah.
That was the big time. Yeah.
You had to hang out with all them.
And then right after that is when it started falling apart, because the mistake John made was get Bobby to be Attorney General, and everybody sent messages, even to the father. You got to stop that now. And Marcellus and all them went nuts, because if it wasn't for the International Longshoremen, the Teamsters,
He never got elected.
he would never got elected.
Yeah.
Plus, I remember I flew to Dallas, and somebody picked me up, and they took me about 30 miles out. I had a suitcase, and I don't know how much money was in that. I dropped it off at a ranch. 2 days later, Lyndon Baines Johnson announced that he was his running mate. They bought him. They promised Kennedy 8 years, and then Lyndon Baines Johnson will have the other 8 years. It's the only reason he did it. So when it was ready to assassinate him, Lyndon Baines Johnson set up the assassination. And the Texas Rangers were the backups. That's who brought him there. No, I mean, the stuff in my book, even the lawyer said, "You're going to go to jail." I said, "Let me go to jail. How many books I'm going to sell? Forget about it." Nobody came. Nobody filed a lawsuit. I said, dead to rights. Robert Kennedy arranged for Marilyn to get killed. I was at Cal Neva that Saturday.
Hold on. The Attorney General arranged for Marilyn Monroe to be killed?
Yep.
How'd they kill her?
A doctor we all used, the CIA, the mob, everybody used to use this guy. He was studying to be anesthesiologist. And he pumped oxygen. We all have a fallopian organ, a large organ in our groin, male or female. And all he did through her pubic hairs was inject oxygen in it.
They put it
She
in your
died
vein?
embolism. That's why when they did the autopsy, they said she had drugs in the system. She had drugs in the system for
Every
20
day, probably.
years. Forget about it. No, but it happened. We were all in Cal Neva.
What's Cal Neva?
Cal Neva's up California, Nevada. There was one resort. Sinatra owned it.
Someone on the border?
Yeah, on the border.
Okay.
Great one. Had bungalows. You could enter on the California side. Nobody knew. We were there for a long weekend. Again, I was just there to listen. And they were trying to set up Bobby with Marilyn, because both the brothers were fucking him by then. John and...
So this lady got around, huh?
Well, not only that, what happened, once John became president, Marilyn believed what he said. Once he becomes president, he's going to leave Jackie and marry her. That ain't going to happen.
No.
So he told Bobby, "You got to get her away from me.
Take her off my hands."
Yeah, so Bobby already had 4 kids. He impregnated Marilyn and convinced her to abort it. And that's when she went nuts. She was going to go public with it. I'm done with these Catholic boys.
And that's when
they figured they got to whack her. 3 days later, they whacked her.
Oh,
that was a
shit.
Saturday. And Tuesday, she was killed.
What year is that?
63, 62. She was killed a year before Kennedy.
And you're still how old at this point?
I'm like 17, 18.
You've seen way too much at that age.
Yeah, I mean, forget about it.
And this is setting the stage for the rest
That's
of your
why
life.
even the pictures that I have of Marilyn and I, they were taken by Sam Giancana. He had the only camera up there taking pictures because he was trying to get them, they had her room set up. Because they blackmailed J. Edgar Hoover years before that,
He was closet gay or something, right? And that's what they caught him with or something?
Yeah, but he was the head of the FBI.
Yeah. So you're 17 years old. You're in Vegas now for a couple of years. You just witnessed basically the entire thing, Marilyn Monroe, go down. Now she's dead.
Right.
Kennedy's in office. Things aren't going well, though. His brother, the Attorney General, is fucking it up for everybody.
Right.
I'm sure all the guys that you were in with are furious at this point, Costello.
Oh, my God. No, then they had another meeting at Waldorf. They used the Waldorf after the Appalachian fiasco.
When all the bosses got set up.
They never went there again. So they used the Palmer House.
What's the Palmer House?
The Palmer House in Chicago.
Hotel?
A mob hotel. The Beverly Wilshire Hotel in California, a mob hotel. and the Waldorf.
That was their headquarters.
They were at headquarters. When they had to have meetings, they'd fly in under aliases. Nobody knew they were there, and they could meet and do whatever they wanted to do. So now I'm traveling all around the world again. I mean, around the United States again. This time, I don't know what it's about. I know somebody's going to get hit. I thought it was Bobby. So I go see Marcello's. I go see the Savellas in Kansas City because they were running the Teamsters. Alan Dorfman.
That's the name of the other names I know. I'm not familiar with that name.
Alan Dorfman was probably the most sophisticated guy. They wound up killing him. They just shot him in his own parking lot because he knew too much. But Alan Dorfman controlled most of the pension union funds for a lot of unions.
It's a powerful guy.
Major guy.
Yeah.
Major guy. But I mean, I borrowed $32 million to build a hotel in 1980
From
on
him?
a napkin.
It's a strong credit line right there, my friend.
No. But so now I'm traveling all over, but I really thought it was Bobby to target. I didn't think it was going to be
Because he was the
John.
one making the problems.
Right.
So why did it go to Kennedy?
It's a funny thing because John made the promise to the syndicate.
So it was his word.
So it was his word. You should have
His
controlled
ass
your
on the
brother.
line.
But the meeting they had with Joe Kennedy was even more interesting because they told Joe, we're going to start killing off your sons.
How old was Joe Kennedy at this point? He's got to be an old man at that point.
He was, not only that, he had a stroke after that. He was in a wheelchair. And then the CIA was training people like Santo Trafficante, Johnny Rosselli. Santo Trafficante was a good friend of Fidel Castro. Anyway.
Trafficante was the Chicago guy?
No.
Or was it Jersey?
No, he was from New York.
I'm thinking Cavalcante.
But in Florida.
Okay.
He was in Florida. He ran Florida and Cuba. He was very good friends with Fidel Castro. So they set them up to kill Fidel Castro. That went on for a year and a half. Nothing was happening. And then they figured that's it. So they went after them all.
But then they hit John F. Kennedy.
And they killed John.
It still blows my mind that story still hasn't gotten out like clean. Like they're still burying it with this ridiculous story that Lee Harvey, like the solo shooter, even though it's been physically proven. It's impossible.
I say in my book who was the shooter. Nobody yet told me not. And Johnny Rosselli was in the storm sewer as they came up the knoll. He had a United States Army carbine rifle. They trained him in it. They trained him to be a marksman, to kill Fidel Castro. I mean, it's the things that were going on there. But see, Marcello's loved Lee Harvey Oswald. He read about him, heard about him, because he was a communist and loved it. He got mustered out as a Marine, trained by the Marines in Germany.
Yeah, what did you say, mustard?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
They mustered him out there. When he got out,
okay,
he wanted to stay there. They threw him out. Marcello, everybody wanted their own shooter. They weren't trusting anybody. There was 4 shooters, plus the backup.
He was not leaving there with his head
No.
intact.
No.
He didn't.
And Lyndon Baines Johnson brought him there.
God damn.
And on the angle where he was in the
library,
library, he could never blow out his brains. Johnny Rosselli hit him coming up at that angle from the sewer. He was in the sewer.
But there was multiple shots in a period of time. It was impossible. The angle, the distance.
The bullet went this way, that way.
Yeah.
Lee Harvey
magic bullet
Oswald shot
theory.
the governor. That's who he shot. No, it was, I mean, I did a science on this. Plus, I talked to Johnny Rosselli.
Yeah.
He did the kill shot.
Yeah.
He said it.
And whatever happened with him?
Well, they found him in a barrel, 50-gallon drum, which was funny because Johnny had his initials on everything. JR. These sick son of a bitches, we already mentioned Florida, they got him because they were bringing him in for questioning, and they figured he'd break.
Yeah.
So
He knows way too much.
rigor mortis set in before they put him in the gallon. So they cut off his legs.
What's that, like one of the K's?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they just put his legs in there. And as a joke, they put on the barrel JR.
Oh, my God.
And they weighted
Savages.
down. No, they weighted down. And about a month later, the somehow the tide in the intercoastal, the barrel's floating, floating.
And they found him.
And I'm seeing it on the news, and I'm saying, I called somebody up. I said, you're not going to believe this.
It's a
They
JR
just
barrel
found
floating.
JR. And not JR, because Dallas was on television.
Fuck.
No, it's so crazy. I mean, you tell these stories. My son sit around and he said, they used to pick stories for me to tell.
Does it feel like a different life?
Is that?
Does it feel like a past life?
I mean, I had so many lives.
That's what I mean. Like, you know, I find myself, I'm 33, but when I think of things that I did 10 years ago, it's like, I can't believe that was even me. I can't imagine stories as crazy as this and the time that's passed. It must feel like that was a different movie.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, well, even the Godfather's going to be 50 years old. That's 50
How old were
years
you
ago.
when you were in The Godfather?
I was 20. I made it when I was 25, 26. We made it in 70, 71, released in 52. So the 50th anniversary is
Next year,
February
right?
12th. Yeah, 2022. So I'm gearing up for that now with all my new products.
It's gonna be great. That movie is just every time.
It just keeps going.
That movie is just one of the best movies of all time. It's unbelievable. Me and my girlfriend, we rewatched it last night just in preparation for this to get excited about the interview and about this podcast, this conversation. And we were just watching it. We were like, it doesn't even seem like acting. Like it was a lot of the lines in that movie where they
They let you
improv.
go.
They
Oh,
did.
let you
That's what
go.
we said, because it's so natural. Everybody in that movie killed their role. Everybody was so phenomenal. Like the script, the way it was shot, the acting, it's just, they don't make movies that anymore. It's almost like, because nowadays there's so much special effects, so much editing and production that can be done that they rely on it too heavy. When back then it was just talent.
Yeah, and I was the only unknown. I never acted before.
How'd you get into that role?
Mob connection. No, I solved the big problem for Paramount with the mob. That's how I got the role.
What was the problem?
Well, Joe Colombo's son was arrested, and he was picketing the FBI building and created a club called the Anti-Defamation League against low Americans. And then he got called in, and they said, Joe, you're part of a secret organization.
Yeah, what the fuck you doing here?
What the hell are you picketing the FBI building? And he went crazy, his ego. And then I saw an opportunity, because I knew Joe. He had the club on 86th Street. I used to go there a lot, just for different reasons.
In Brooklyn or Manhattan?
In Brooklyn.
Okay, Bensonhurst.
Yeah. And so I went there to see him. I said, Joe, there's an opportunity to make a lot of money. The book was already in the third printing. Somebody read me the book, because I'm an illiterate. I can't read or nothing. I never went to school.
Oh, wow.
I'd rather Bellevue. You think I was going to go to school? Forget about it.
There was no time for
I was making a lot of
English
money.
class while you
were... A lot
were,
of cash.
yeah.
Give me the cash.
Yeah.
No, so somebody read me the book, and I said, I could play Michael, Sonny, or Carlo. And that's when I get something in my head, forget about it.
I like that.
And I went to see Joe. I said, Joe, I think you're making a mistake here. You can make a lot of money for the league, and you could become a hero. He said, how am I going to do that? And he just hired a Jewish attorney, Barry Schlotnick. I'm still friends with him. In fact, his son Stuart now represents me.
Wow.
And he just hired this guy, which was smart to have a Jewish attorney.
Always.
And I always have them.
Yeah.
And they opened their office on Madison Avenue. So I go to the club, and he said, how are we going to make money? I said, listen, whatever you don't like, and Barry was there. I said, have Barry read the script. I'll arrange a meeting. We should go talk to them.
Oh, so I'm sorry to interrupt you. So I think I'm getting it now. So he was opposed to the movie because he didn't like the way it made Italians look.
Bullshit.
But that was what he was saying, at least?
Anyway, no. It's about the fajoule.
But that's what his cover was. That's what
he was
saying.
telling her, because his son was wrongly accused.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But he's leaning on him at the end of the day.
Everybody.
Okay.
So now I said, let's fix the movie. What you don't like about it. Because he didn't like WAP and Guinea and all those derogatory definitions of Italian Americans. I said, if they decide to take that out and you cooperate with them, we can make, now I said we, not you, we can make a lot of money.
But the movie still, I mean, the words are still in there.
Let me tell you why.
Oh, sure.
I'm the first one to use it. When I say you guinea brat, clean it up.
Yeah, she's smashing the dishes.
And Francis Coppola, the director, said, "You can't use that." I said, "Now we can." He's, "Don't worry, he's in a coma." They shot him.
Oh,
Don't
shit.
you remember?
That's right. At the
the
parade thing, right?
The
Or
big,
not parade. What
the
was
big
it?
league
Yeah, the speech or whatever
rally.
he was doing. Yeah, the rally. That's right.
I'll tell you today, June 28, 1971. I got a call from Tommy Bellotti, who was the underboss at that time. And he said, "You going to the rally today?" I said, "Yeah, I'm on the day." He says, "You can't go." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "The old man said you can't go." I said, "I'm on the day." He says, "I don't care if Joe Colombo's sitting on your lap, you ain't going." So I couldn't go. So thank God I covered myself, because I called
That
Barry.
would look a little sketchy.
Well, I called Barry. I said, "Barry, I don't know what's the matter, but apologize to Joe, because he got me to roll. We're shooting a movie. We're like 4 months into shooting already." I said, "I got a stomach flu. I can't sit on that dais." He said, "I'll explain it to him." And thank God he did, because then I left. I went downtown. I'm sitting at Angelo's out, it was a nice summer day. And they announced that Joe Colombo was shot. And then they start looking at the crime footage.
It was a black guy, though.
Well, let me tell you, the black guy, how stupid that guy was. He was Joe Gallo's cellmate. He thought he could be made. This guy was nuts. So Joe said, "You do this killing, I'll make sure you get made."
Yeah, he didn't make it 5 feet.
But guess what he did, though? The night before, he says to Joe, "Do you mind if my girlfriend comes? Can we get a press pass for her, too?" Joe says, "You sure you want your girlfriend?" Because he didn't know they were going to kill them all. He got her a press pass. Well, we're jumping ahead, though.
Did she get killed, too?
Oh, yeah, they killed 17 people that day.
Holy shit.
No, this is like nuts, this gravy train.
This part? Not the rest of them.
No, well, I mean, it's so many of them.
Yeah. So wait, I'm sorry, I lost my place there. So now he's in a coma because he gets shot.
Well, let's get back to how I got the part.
Yeah.
Okay. So I tell him that. So he said, you said you could do it? I said, "Give me permission. I'll go take it." I didn't even know we could do this. I'm just taking a shot.
Yeah.
I said, "Give me permission to talk for you." So he says to Barry, "You think this will work?" He said, "I don't know, let them go." So they were coming into the city. I jumped in the car with them. They were going to the league office. I walked up 59th Street. I live in that area all my life. I walked into the apartment I live in. You got to come with your girlfriend. It's my apartment, my dining room sits 16. I got an 8-stool bar with a nightclub in it. 5 bedrooms, step-down living room in an apartment in New York. It's 2,200 square feet. I walked in there when I was 13 years old.
You still the same place?
He gave it to me. Gave me the keys.
Get the fuck out of here.
I would never leave.
Yeah, why would you?
Just forget about it. It's the best. So now I go see these guys.
Wait,
Al
Costello
Ruddy,
gave you that?
Costello.
Frank Costello, man. How did he die?
Natural causes.
Okay, so
all the real guys die in
it's
natural
quite a life.
causes. Even a Carter. I used to go play golf with a Carter out in Palm Springs. Natural cause. Carlo Gambino, natural causes.
What about any run-ins or relationship with Lucky Luciano?
No, he was gone already.
He was already back in Italy?
I mean, Luciano he was, they set him up in, 49 on drugs and all that stuff.
The years always just made me, but his story is just, he's my favorite,
he was
historical
a
figure.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's the only guy in history that they basically made a deal with and let him out for help in the war.
Oh, no, he was a hero.
Yeah, crazy.
No, he got the longshoreman, man. They found a submarine off of Staten Island. Nobody even told you that one.
No.
They found a German submarine. The international, no, they made a great deal. Well, he was done for life. He went over there.
And I said, to go to Sicily, help us navigate the mountains. For those who've done a Lucky Luciano, one of the founders of the commission, one of the most famous mobsters of all time.
Yeah.
He was doing life in jail, and this was during World War I?
No,
II. World War II. And the United States government said, if you help us navigate the mountains and hills of Sicily, which was a strategic point in the war, we'll let you out and we'll just deport you back to Sicily. And then he ended up living out his life in Sicily.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I never saw him. My oldest friend right now is 98 years old over there. He's like another extension of my, like Costello and them, Because after the Kennedy assassination, I went over there for 22 months. I was on the land for 22 months.
Shit.
Because they had a hit list of
You were on it.
73 people. I was the 73rd person. I'm the only one alive. They killed Dorothy Kilgallon a week before they were supposed to
Who was
kill
that?
me. Dorothy Kilgallon was a columnist and a socialite. She was also on a game show called What's My Line, but her boyfriend was a mob guy, and she overheard something. They whacked her.
Wow.
She's still unsolved crimes.
Shit.
You know how many times they come to me and say, what do you, I say, no,
This
nothing.
bar that turned up in 85. Can you give us anything on it? Oh,
It's
shit.
nuts. No, but I mean, it's like you said, when you start to think about this, I mean, I myself sometimes, I think maybe I'm dreaming. This can't be. How did I do all of this? It's insane.
Well, it's actually like it's a running joke now on you have so many crazy stories and your life has been so that there's actually like a YouTube in the comments section. It's like a running thing now where like they'll it won't even you're not even in the video and people will be like, yeah, Gianni Russo, he also he helped he was an architect on the Sphinx. Or you know what I mean, or he knew Napoleon. Like it just because your story is like just no one's ever had a resume like you. So people, it's just like a running joke now on YouTube. It's like,
oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's funny.
I don't go on there either.
Yeah, but it's just a compliment to your body of work, really.
You think it's a compliment? I think it's an insult.
No. It's like, it's like no, not like that. It's like it's just we call them tangents. It's like when like taking a joke and just exagerating, like you know what I mean, like
that's the new thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's something stupid.
What do I know?
But so you weaseled your way, for lack of better words, into The Godfather.
Well, what happened? I arranged the meeting.
So you actually deserved it then.
No, so I walked in and I saw them all coming in the building. Al Roddy, Bobby Evans, Stanley Jaffe.
But you brought Columbo to the table.
So I walked over to them at the elevator bank. I said, guys, I know you're having a problem with the mob. We have no problem with the mob.
You sure about that?
Excuse me. I said, I just left Joe Colombo. They said, you just left who? I said, Joe Colombo.
Yeah.
He wants to meet with you. He said, wait down here. We'll send somebody down. I thought they weren't going to call the cops. I didn't give a shit. So they go up. They send a girl down. I go up. Don't ask me how I remember her name. Naomi Cherry. This is 52 years ago. She was Stanley Jaffe's secretary. I have a retention. Nobody has them. I'm 78. I remember, forget about it. But so I go up and they said, you were with Joe Colombo. I said, yeah, he wants to have a meeting. I said, okay. Will he come here? I said, come anywhere you want. Will he come here tomorrow? I said, you want him here tomorrow? I'll bring him tomorrow. So it's okay. 10 o'clock. It's okay. So I go back down. I walk down 59th Street. I said, Joe, the meeting's on 10 o'clock tomorrow. I said, can I make a suggestion? No. He said, yeah. I said, who's going to come to the meeting? He said, well, Barry, you and I. I said, no, let's bring some people. They just read The Godfather. They're about to make the movie. We got to bring some heavies. Bring Butter Esther Chico. Bring like a Luco Brazzi.
Show a little muscle.
So they all come in.
Who was the real version of Luca Brasi? Who was like the big muscle guy? Like
Lenny Montana.
Lenny Montana.
He was Lenny Montana played Luca.
In
he
real
was
life.
their collector.
That was the real guy.
And he's a real guy. No, he was a wrestler. Then he became a collector for the Colombo family.
And they put him in the movie.
He took crackheads, this guy.
He looked like a big motherfucker.
Oh, and hit too many times. So
yeah.
You would just program this guy. So now they're having a meeting, and I'm doing all the talking. I'm just, this and that. And then I said, Barry's going to read the script, and if we can work it out, they will sanction all the neighborhoods. You'll get all the cooperation from the unions. But Mr. Colombo wants the world premieres in every major city the night before the movie opens. That's how we're going to make the money. $100, $150 a ticket. We had it all ready.
In 1972?
Hello.
Oh, shit.
But Joe wouldn't stop. So they tried to whack him.
Because he was causing too much,
June
too much
28th.
tension.
We're still shooting the movie. They shot him. So all the deals off the table. And the Paramount ran like rabbits. We had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
No, they had a real assassination, 2 blocks, and everybody was staying at the Park Lane Hotel on 59th Street, right down the block from it. That was crazy. But I went into hiding because when
in the middle of shooting the movie?
Well, I was done. I wrapped right soon after that, but the whole movie wrapped in August. Then they had to cut it and edit it, and then he put it
But
out.
you were already gone.
But yeah, but not only that, the problem. I had 2 more weeks of shooting, but he was in the coma. By the time not like today. By the time the FBI and everybody got involved with it, they started looking at the dais, and the only chair that was empty had my name on it. So now, organized crime in New York's looking for me. And in fact, I got to know the guy really well. What was it? Joe Coffey. He was the head of organized crime. In fact, he was the guy that arrested Gotti 3 times and finally nailed him the last time. So now these guys are looking for me to talk to me. The FBI's looking, plus the Colombo family.
You're like, see ya.
I said, bye.
You're like Michael in the movie. Like, I'm going to Sicily for a while to cool out.
But I tell you, I would not miss the premiere of Godfather.
How'd you swing that?
So I snuck in. I stood at the St. Regis Hotel. I mean, not the St. Regis, the Warwick. The premiere was at the St. Regis. So they didn't know if I was coming or not going. I had no limousine.
Did you have one of those like glasses with the nose and the mustache? I don't.
No, but I was very incognito. As soon as the red carpet started in front of the Paramount, I just walked out of the crowd and got online and oh, Gianni Russo, play Carlo. I went into the theater. As soon as the lights went out, I was gone. I went back to the Warwick. I went to the party at the Regency about 11:30 at night. I went through the kitchen door, went up on the service elevator because I knew who was looking for me.
Yeah.
And I walked on the floor. There was Henry Kissinger there. Everybody was there. No one was going to do nothing to me. I went around, took all the pictures with everybody, snuck out again.
Right back to Sicily.
Went back to Warwick Hotel, went right to JFK, gone again.
And you were there for 2 years, almost.
No, I was already back from that. That was Kennedy stuff. That was in the 60s. No, I left this country 4 times.
So how long were you gone this time?
This time I was only gone like 8 months. They straightened it out. No,
So-
because Barry told him, he said, wait a minute. He had nothing to do with it. He had
called.
stomach.
Yeah, the night
He
before.
called me in the morning.
So now that all blows over. You get the green light to come back to America.
Right.
And now you're in, how old are you at this
Vegas. I'm staying. Now I'm in Vegas.
point? Okay, now you're in Vegas. How old are you at this point? Mid-20s?
Yeah. Well, I'm already did Godfather, so I'm like 27, 28.
And now that's where you start getting into the nightclubs?
I already opened. I opened Tiffany's already. Then I got really involved in the movies. I made 46 motion pictures.
Your IMDb page must be fucking
No, it's crazy.
10 things long. It's
No,
actually
man,
put up there.
And I felt, this was like,
Joe,
this
one of the
is-
tabs is IMDb. IMDb, am I saying that right? IMDb. If you could pull it up for a second, I want to just, because it's probably comical. One of the tabs in there, we have it set up so whatever's on the computer, we'll pull up here, and then when people are watching, they'll be able to see what we're looking at. So this is your IMDb page,
Oh, no,
which
it's
shows your
crazy.
movie credits.
And I got 46 motion pictures,
Unbelievable. And TV shows and
200 hours of television.
unbelievable. Starting in the 70s.
Yeah.
And are you going to be in the one coming out of you? Are you narrating it? How are you getting involved in the new project?
No, you won't believe this one. Nick Vallelonga, who won the Oscar for Green Book,
Mm-hmm.
he wrote it already. And Colin Wilson, who just did Mandalorian for Disney,
Yeah.
got 15 Emmy
Yeah,
nominations.
it's quite a project he did. He's
Well-
involved also.
He's my executive producer.
Wow. So you have some serious heavy hitters.
And guess who we just hired as a writer? He's writing and directing 3, Chaz Palminteri.
Chad, Bronx Tale.
He's writing, and George Gallo, who did Midnight Run, 29th Street, is writing and directing 3.
You have an all-star team going.
I mean, I got a team that we have 9 Oscars, 22 Emmys for television.
That's the way to do it, though. If you're going to do it, get the best involved.
That's all I ever
Or don't
did.
do it at all.
Well, look at any given Sunday. I had 38 movie stars in that movie.
That movie was unbelievable.
38 movie stars.
That movie was unbelievable. Jamie Foxx. Who's the blonde?
Dennis Quaid, LL Cool J.
Who's the blonde woman?
Oh, Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz
I
in her
love Cameron.
prime. In her.
Oh my God!
Oof. That
You
is
know what I
prime
gave
Diaz.
Cameron for her birthday?
What's that?
A tattoo and said, "In case of rape, this side up." She's so flat chested, it's bullshit, man. When she did Charlie's Angels, I said, "Get out of here."
Oh shit!
I used to see her in the makeup trailer every day. She had nothing. They
She's
used to pay.
beautiful, but she is.
Oh no, she's amazing.
She's yeah. She could
Amazing
use
lady.
maybe a cheeseburger.
Still a good friend of mine too.
Yeah. So you're in the nightclub business now in Vegas.
Nightclub
You
business
have
in
two
Vegas.
spots.
Two major spots. I broke ground 1980 on the Renaissance Hotel. I got a $110 million building going up. And then Jimmy Carter, thank God, was the president because I borrowed a lot of money. And they had me on a wiretap, lest I wouldn't be sitting here now. And Jimmy Carter, that year, I broke ground April Fool's Day. I did my footing and foundation. I'm ready to pull my first 10 million from the Teamsters,
Mm-hmm.
and the interest rates went to 19%. They insisted I have Ernst & Young as my CPA firm. They wrote me a letter, said, Mr. Russo, you'd have to have 91% occupancy to service your debt. So I pulled the plug. Thank God I pulled the plug. The FBI was ready to come down on me.
You're one of those guys that just has
I walked.
the luck.
It's so
It just,
crazy.
you know what I mean? My father always said, I'd rather be luck than skilled any day. Not that you're not skilled, but you just get the breaks just go your way, it seems like, man.
But you know what's funny? If you, because now technology, my kids do it.
Yeah.
If you go to Flamingo Road, Harmon Avenue, and Colville Lane, this is right behind the Bally's, next to the MGM Grand,
Okay.
between the Hard Rock. I have 23 acres of land still there, blank, because,
From that project?
yes,
Wow.
and I bought it in 65.
For a cheeseburger, probably. Like, what?
Well, not only that, because Costello, again,
He gave that to you too?
no. He said, what are you doing with all your money? I said, I'm doing this and doing that. He said, invest in land, especially in Nevada. Because in Nevada, you could buy raw land, pay no
right?
taxes on it until you develop it.
Wow.
So I bought this acreage, some at
50 years.
1,500 an acre, 2,000 an acre. Now it's in an offshore corporation. I don't know who owns it, but it's about 20 million an acre right now.
Holy shit. So you're
That's
in the-
why I sit around with a shit-eating grin, man.
So now you were in Vegas 20 years, you said.
30.
30 years.
I got there 59, left in 89.
Why'd you leave?
They asked me to.
Who's they?
The governor. They
Okay.
had so many calls. I had an incident in my club, which I went to the defense of a lady, and I didn't know who the guy was.
Well, she was getting harassed?
She was not only getting harassed, the guy that she came in with broke a Cristal bottle and stuck it in her face.
Jesus Christ.
Now, we all know Steve Sharippa from
Mhm.
The Sopranos,
Yeah.
and now Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
He was going to UNLV to hotel school.
I heard him tell that story on a podcast.
Well, I hired him as my doorman.
Oh,
He
shit.
was working that night in a big tuxedo on the door. So I called. I saw the guy come in, and he's giving everybody $100 bills. But
Who's
we
this
saw that
guy?
a lot in Vegas because I had a casino attached to it too.
Yeah.
So I said, Steve, who's the guy?
You can always tell when someone's somebody.
So I said, who's the guy? He's from Caesars. I said, how's he rated? 5 stars. I said, whack him out, because that means Caesars is picking it up.
Yeah.
So they sent a bottle of Louis XIII. At that time, I was getting $1,200 for a bottle of Cristal.
This is what year? This is
And
80?
I know exactly when. I'll tell you the day it was. It was June 28th. October 28th, 1988. Because I killed him that night. I killed the guy. So anyway, long story short.
How do we get it? Yeah. Well, we got to fill in the middle for me now.
No, so now he's doing all of this, and now all of a sudden, a half hour goes by. He breaks the Cristal bottle and sticks it in his date's face. Thank God he missed her eye, but she's bleeding. So I called the door again. I used to sit on like a perch. My bar was raised around so I could look at all the different
Watching
rooms.
the floor and everything.
And I said, Steve, get to table 7. He said, I ain't going over there, boss. That guy's nuts. I said, that's why I hired you.
Yeah. So that's what you hear.
Yeah. So I go over because I had a thing I wanted to, first of all, I didn't want nobody getting arrested in my joint. I had a gaming license that was always very suspicious how I got that. So I go over to the guy. I said, pal, I said, you hear those sirens? They're coming for you. They're not going to a fire. I said, if I were you, take that exit and get out of here. It's the back door. Nobody will find you. I got to get her to the hospital. She's bleeding. I mean, she got a napkin. I'm bleeding. And I didn't know if it hit her. Huh?
She just stayed there? She must have been petrified.
What is she going to do? This guy he would kill her. I still know the guy had the bottle in his hand yet.
Well, this is where the cut came from?
Hello.
Holy shit.
So now he leans in, I think, to get her. He spins around. Fortunately, I'm agile enough. I go back, and instead of my throat, he cuts me right along here.
Jesus.
My whole chin drops. So now I'm saying,
like a flap.
Like a flap.
Holy fuck.
So I'm saying, how am I going to get this guy? I mean, and I'm carrying legally.
But you're in the middle of your restaurant at this point.
Yeah, and 150 people looking at me. No, it was the restaurant part. See, then behind him was the casino. And
everybody stopping and
everybody stopped like this.
Fuck? Yeah.
So now I said, look what the hell you did to my shirt. I waited 6 months for this shirt. This is C. Allen Con. You understand this, you idiot? And he's like, who is this guy?
Why you think he's flapping?
But I had to get my hand on my gun. I put it right to his forehead. I said, now I'm telling you one more time. Get out of here before you're in trouble. Is F you. I said, F me. I shoot him twice right between the eyes. I'm looking at a man with a hole in his head. The blood's dripping down slow. And he's still looking at me.
Must have been fucked up.
I'm saying, was he ever? I found that out later. So I put 3 more right in his chest. He falls like a timber. Then everybody, all the doors break open. They're in the club.
Runs.
So Coots is the head detective. He knows me. They all knew me because I treated all those guys perfect. He said, what happened, John? I said, well,
look at my face.
He stabbed the girl first. I went to rescue her, and I had my face all by that time with ice and things on it. But I learned something, and your audience is going to learn something you won't believe. When the paramedics came, they take the most traumatized. They took him first before the woman.
He wasn't dead?
But they didn't care. They take the most traumatized first. Then the next ambulance was her.
Most traumatized meaning the most damaged, like?
Yeah.
What the
so
fuck?
They took him first.
This poor girl is still sitting there the whole time.
Sitting there like, she's in shock by then.
Anyone going to take care of me?
So I got Coots because Sunrise Hospital was right down the block from my club. I knew it.
That's the detective, Coots?
What's that?
That's a detective, Coots, you said?
Yeah, Coots, yeah.
Okay.
I said, take me. I want to talk to you. So we had a radio on. He said, tell me really what happened. I told him, tell you the truth. So now he calls back in. He said, anybody that saw what happened, I want anybody that was an eyewitness to Johnny shooting this guy, I want him taken down and take a statement under oath. So they locked all these people up. So it was a 21-day inquest. I walked. The problem was...
So what was that, a 21-day? What was
21-day inquiry from the district attorney, inquest from the district attorney's
office. Before they press charges to see
if they do all
charges.
that, and they go through the thing. It's just a formality.
Yeah.
Because it was justifiable homicide. The problem was, it was Pablo Escobar's underboss. I had a bigger problem. Forget about it. I come out of the hospital.
No one could have given me the heads up on that beforehand?
Oh, we didn't know.
I guess, yeah.
Nobody knew who he was.
They're not going to write that on their
He was on an
cards.
alias in Caesar's Palace, a big player. But he was there setting up a whole drug thing for California, the whole tri-state area.
So I'm sure that cost the organization a lot of money. They weren't happy about it.
Well, it caused a lot of problems for me, especially more.
I'm sure.
Because when I got home, there was a whole Santeria on my rug. I mean, I'm nuts for security. How did this guy get in my house?
What did they leave in your house?
A Santeria. It's
like the drug lord.
Yeah, well, the Marielitos. They're all Marielitos.
What's that? I'm sorry.
It's a religion. So he has to avenge his brother's death before his brother's soul could rest. But what they do, they'll kill your pets, your neighbors, your children.
Everybody.
You last. They want you to suffer.
Fuck.
So I said, I got to straighten this out. I already had 7 kids at that time. So I call my good friend John Gotti, and I say that in jest, because I knew he had something to do with somebody. So I fly in, I go to the Ravenite, and he's busting my balls. This is now Monday night. Oh, now you're a killer. I see it all over the news. I said, John, I got nothing to do with it. Oh, you had nothing to do with it. You shot the guy between the eyes. I said, well, I did that.
I had no choice. Yeah.
Yeah. I said, what am I supposed to do? I said, look at me. He said, yeah, whatever. I don't want to get into that. But I said, I got to go see, I want to go down and see Pablo Escobar. He said, you want to do what? I said, I want, somebody to get me in. He says, I know Noriega. So I go to Dominican Republic. So John thought once I get there, I'm not coming back. Nobody thought I'd come back. And I didn't care if I didn't come back. I had my kids killed and their mothers and
You
everybody.
got to at least try to straighten it
I
out.
already cheated God out of me dying
20
100
times by
times
then.
already.
Right?
So I fly down. I meet him in a church.
What's that flight like? Hold on. I gotta get inside your mind for a second. So obviously
I
you're
flew to
looking at your greater
Miami.
good for your family,
Then
but what is your mental state like?
My mental state, the only thing I felt good about, I did my homework. He had a daughter, same age as my daughter. And I thought I could reason with the guy. I had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
So now I get there. He's in church.
A lot of faith in something.
I have a lot of faith in God. I really do.
Yeah.
So the good thing, I met him in a church in Bogota.
Does that matter to someone like Pablo Escobar?
Huh?
Does that matter to someone like Pablo Escobar? Is the church
Well, he's a
like,
religious guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, I go there, and there's nobody in the church but him, or what I assume is him. And as I'm walking down the aisle, as I'm passing the pews, you hear the wood cracking of people sitting up. And on my periphery, guys are sitting up with all rifles. The place was loaded. And as I get closer to him, he's at an altar praying in front of the Blessed Mother. I've never seen that statue yet. Again, she was on like a globe with all flames, people reaching out of hell trying to touch her.
Jesus.
And as he's praying to her, he's burning his fingertips on the candles. You know, when you smell flesh,
Yeah.
as I'm getting close, I'm smelling flesh. I'm saying, what the fuck is this about?
Kind of twisted fuck.
So he turns to me, is you Gianni Russo? I said, yeah. And that's all I remember. They knocked me out. Next thing I wake up, I
Tied
find
up or
out
something?
later, I'm in a prison 2 floors down below his new house that he built his own prison.
Yeah. Ain't that something?
There's body bags laying all around me.
Filled the body bags?
Oh, they were filled and stunk.
Jesus.
I mean, the smell in that room was ridiculous.
Ugh.
I'm on a steel chair, no seat, shackled to this chair. I don't even know how long I was sitting there already. I'm only bandaged already, and I knew that. And I'm
Knocked you
going in
dead.
and out of a daze. I don't know what's happening. And the next thing I know, this guy is standing in front of me. The only guy dressed. But I'm sitting down. I can only see him waist high. And in his hand, he had the book called The Making of the Godfather. And it's him. He said,
Pablo?
why don't you tell me you were Carlo from The Godfather? That's my favorite movie. Clean him up and bring him up to the house. So now they bring me up. A doctor comes and sees me.
How'd they figure that out? Someone recognize you?
I don't know.
That horseshoe, man. Again,
I'm telling you. I mean,
that rabbit foot.
I about gave it to him. I didn't even keep it. No, but I mean, that's how crazy my life is.
Maybe Sicilians are right. Maybe when you're a cripple as a child, you got good luck.
That's why when I had this conversation, imagine me having these conversations, all these conversations I had with Pope John Paul. We would sit for hours talking.
He must have been fascinated by you. He must have been, this guy's good. Well, hold on, I can't get off this topic yet. So now you're kind of conscious. They clean you up. Now you're in Pablo Escobar's jail. He now recognizes you as Carlo. So you're out of the woods a little bit. I mean, I don't even know. At this point, are you even confident you're out of the woods?
No.
Yeah,
no,
you can't
the
be.
guy's too nuts. So now they bring me up to his dining room. They got clothes for me and everything.
Is he in jail at that point? Like
That was
technically?
his jail. He had to turn himself into his own jail.
So he's
he built
technically
his
in
own
jail,
jail.
yeah.
Hello. He had an amusement park in the backyard for the kids. I mean,
Shit.
the guy was doing $1 billion a month.
Yeah. They
So
still haven't found
you
his
can
money.
only imagine what this jail looked like. So now we have a beautiful dinner, and he's sitting maybe 20 feet from me. I'm at the other end. People serving us doing that.
It's just you two
Just us two.
at that big ass
And
table.
people standing around.
That's a fucking movie scene, huh? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And then he said to me, why did you come here? I said, I did my homework. I knew you have a daughter, same age as my daughter, Gia. I had nothing to do with this. So what he said, what do you mean you had nothing to do with this? So he gets his glass and comes down and sits next to me. See, I don't know what John told him. I think John told him a story. Because as I'm telling the story,
It's like his first time hearing it.
he's like saying, what are you talking about? I said, your guy came into my club. He was the guest of Caesar's Palace where he was staying. I get these guys coming all the time. They're big players. We take care of them. He breaks a Cristal bottle and sticks it in his date's face. And he's like, what? So this is not the story he heard.
Yeah.
I said, you see this? I wanted the girl to go to the hospital. Your guy cut my throat, tried to cut my throat. I got 81 stitches here. So now he's saying, but okay. But why would you come here? You know I got to kill you. I say to myself,
Fuck.
did he really just say that?
I thought I was doing good for a minute.
He's, listen, I'm going to straighten this out. You sure? I said, you're asking me? I'm straightening this out for you. But before you go, will you do me a favor? I was like jesting. I said, yeah, you want me to cut the grass? Or what? You want to clean the windows? He didn't even know what the hell I was talking about. He said, I want to do a scene from the movie. And I'm saying, uh-oh, what scene do you want to do? He said, I want to do the closing scene with you and Michael at the house.
And then you're going to get the fucking wire around your neck.
Yeah. He said, I'm going to play Michael.
Oh, boy.
I said, you want me to write the lines? He said, no, I know the lines. So now...
He really likes that movie. I love that
no.
movie.
So now he goes to the doorway of his own dining room with a couple of guys. And we start the scene. He knew every line. Carlo, today I straightened out all the family business. That's all the lines. So I get up, Mike, please, you got it all wrong. Oh, you think this father's myself? The whole thing.
We got your ticket to Vegas.
So I sit down, he gives me the ticket. Now,
Oh, shit, because he had to give you a real ticket anyway.
Yeah.
So he's really playing the scene out. Holy shit.
I played the whole ticket out. So I said, now I'm saying to myself, this is how the fucking guy's going to come, this sick motherfucker. So now we go through the whole scene. He's walking me out to the car. He opens the door for me. Instead of one guy, there's two guys in the back seat. As soon as I sit in there, they said, hello, Carlo. And I look around like I was about to shit my pants. And they all bust out laughing. He gives me a hug. He says, get out of here. I'll straighten this out. I couldn't get to the airport fast enough.
And they drove you to the airport.
Yeah, they drove me.
With the guys in the back seat?
Yep.
Were you looking in the fucking rear view the whole time?
No,
Like, it's coming.
I didn't know what there was, it was like craziness. But that happened with me with Saddam Hussein, It was crazy. When I met him finally in Switzerland, this was a major situation. I can't even tell you about it. When I met him too, he said, you know why I came? I said, no, why? For the money. He said, no. He said, you played Carlo. I loved that movie. I'm saying,
How the fuck did you meet? Why did you meet Saddam Hussein?
I was moving money. I moved money.
To Iraq or to Switzerland?
Switzerland.
To Swiss bank accounts out there.
Well, not only that, because of, I used to do a lot of business with Adnan Khashoggi. I don't know who you know.
What was the name?
Adnan Khashoggi. In fact, I had his 50th birthday party in my club at State Street.
Khashoggi. Why does that name sound so familiar?
Adnan Khashoggi is the biggest arms dealer in the world.
The Russian guy.
No, Khashoggi. No? He was Armenian, whatever.
Okay.
But Bob Shaheen, who's like 90-something now, is still alive. He was his head fiduciary. I talked to him once a week. Him and I are still alive. We travel the world together.
So wait, so you were in Switzerland, and what? How do you cross paths with?
I brought money for something he bought. Once they inspected it, he approved it. I released the money to him. But he came himself. We thought somebody was coming.
How long ago was this? This is
Jesus. This is
the 80s.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was definitely 80s. It was
People
actually
also,
early 90s.
People also like But it's weird because our government does a lot of weird shit where, tackling and overthrowing, propping up dictators and then overthrowing them decades
yeah.
later. So I think people from different generations have different outlooks on certain people, like Castro, Bin Laden,
Oh, my God,
Hussein, because people don't realize, like, all we know is the exit. People my age only know the ending. They don't realize that the government put them in
Yeah, of
power
course
20
they
years,
do.
30 years earlier. So it's strange, and they were looked at differently in the 70s, 80s, and 90s than they did by the time I was around. In the
Yeah,
90s,
they were the enemy.
yeah, they were now,
Or
public
trying to
enemy
make
number
you think
one.
they're the
Yeah,
enemy.
now they're getting they once were a CIA prop. Now they're weapons of mass destruction and
Oh, yeah. It's
being used as scapegoat.
No, I
and-
mean, what they did, and well, they're still doing it. Hello.
yeah, well, did you hear that?
We don't want to get into
fucking-
politics. We'll be here all night.
Yeah, well, did you hear that? It only took 36 days. Biden bombed Syria today.
I don't know.
Fucking unbelievable. For as many bad things as people want to give our last president, one thing we didn't do was go to war, and already we're back at it. But I don't want to get down that side road. But
What I find amusing is that the Clintons, which I'm very close to Bill, but the Clintons have 63 friends that committed suicide. I don't know any family in the world had 63 friends that committed suicide. I mean, these statistics, nobody challenges them.
if that is true, the statistical anomaly would have to be one in a couple trillion. You know what I mean? For that to be, whatever. I also heard there's, and also, again, I don't want to be shadow banned or whatever, but I've heard rumblings of stories of the other Kennedy going against the Clintons.
Oh, yeah.
That's why this plane crashed. Which Kennedy was that? That was who was running for senator, I think, against
No, the
Clinton.
kid,
Yeah,
John Boy.
yeah. So
Well, they knew he'd destroy it.
Yes, that's a dirty family, the Clintons.
Well, she is, I think. I had so much fun with Bill, man.
He's a
I was
he's a hound dog, right?
crazy guy, man. Love him. I was with him. You won't believe it. I was with him during 9/11.
What the fuck?
We were in Double Bay, Australia, him and I together. We were already there for 5 days. We were hosted by a guy over there, was a big industrialist. He brought him over and he brought me over for a fundraiser. And we were there on his yacht and casino. I mean, we were staying in Double Bay, Australia, at the Ritz-Carlton. And he was in the presidential suite. I was on the other side of the floor. And we wake up, we're like 20 or 17 hours ahead of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're waking up and I'm seeing frogmen coming down on my balcony, full gear. So I go to the door and there's somebody blocking the door. I said, this way we know, Mr. Russo, go back to bed. We got to move the president. I said, what's going on? They said, turn your television on.
Oh, they were locking everything down. They were protecting all our Secret Service, right?
Well, they were all there. But I learned something. Every living president, when something like that happens, it only happened one other time, Pearl Harbor, that we were attacked actually on our land. Every living president is taken into custody and flown somewhere
Oh shit.
because they didn't want them to get these guys.
Yeah.
And I think that time we had like 4 or 5 of them still alive.
Yeah, probably Carter, Bush, Clinton.
Ford.
Yeah.
No, there was a lot of them. But anyway, no, but that's so. I
It was a good time.
I go, oh my God, we had more fun. In fact, I did Howard Stern when I came back, and that's when she was running, and we talked the
What, in
whole
16?
whenever that was.
Like the last.
Well, right after 9/11. So
Oh, that way back. Okay.
yeah, so after 9/11, whenever that was, that
2001.
within a couple of
2002.
weeks, I was on Stern. So now I get in my car going home, and the phone rings in that car. Not my car, it was the service. And it was Hillary's office once, talked to Mr. Russo. They give me the phone. There was a lady said, Gianni Russo. I said, yeah. So we just heard you on Stern. And the first lady, they're already calling her the first lady. Well, she was the first lady through him. Her and Bill have an agreement not to be talking about his escapades. I said, well, I don't have an agreement with her, and I hung up. They called me back. They said, did you hang up on us? I said, yeah. When she's first lady, I said, don't go any further. when she's the president of the United States, I'm leaving. And I hung up again.
Fucking A. So now we left off with that crazy Pablo Escobar story. That's what. So after that, you were like, I'm done with Vegas, or you said the
Oh, I was
governor?
done with Vegas already. You know, they asked me to leave. When I did that, no, that was it. They said, you know, they were getting calls. I had a gaming license, and there was rumors that I
Guy
killed some other
shooting
people.
This guy
Yeah, you know, people were
connected to
missing.
Costello and
Yeah, and the same way. And the governor said to me, you know, Johnny, just surrender your license. You'll always have your license. That's why that property is worth so much.
you still
That
have a license
property
attached to it.
has a license attached to it. All you have to do
Excuse me.
is, if you build a building, they'll invest in you know, inspect it to make sure it's built to specs. That's why the property's worth a lot of money.
What are you waiting for?
It's not mine.
Oh, well, whoever's. What are they waiting for?
Well, just the right. I don't want them to sell it. I want them to subordinate the land and take a piece of the building, because the land's worth. I mean, if you do the math on it, it's worth a couple $100 million. So take a subordination. Any improvements, if they fail, you own the building too.
Like a land lease?
Yeah.
Interesting. You know a couple guys in that hospitality business. Hopefully one day soon that gets developed.
It's a great piece I have, though. Doesn't say. Well,
I'm sure.
okay.
Not that many, please, not many vacant lots
It's 23 acres.
in prime strip like that.
Right between the Hard Rock, MGM Grand, Bally's. I'm right there. It's a footprint.
Have you been to Vegas lately?
Don't even want to go. I
No.
went there for my book 2 years ago. They asked me to have a book signing in the Mob Museum, which I thought that was hysterical.
The Mob Museum out there is funny.
But it's in the Federal Building.
I've never actually been there. I've only seen pictures of
Well,
it.
they took the Federal Building, made it a Mob Museum. Oscar Goodman did that.
What's the federal building?
The FBI building.
Oh, shit. That's ironic.
Yeah. So now, here I come back to Vegas 2 years ago.
Like your first time since the
Yeah,
80s?
I'm-
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I come back to Vegas. So I'm saying, what am I going to do? I'm walking there I'm there for my book signing. So I walk on stage, and everybody, the place was packed. The good, the bad, and the ugly were there to see me.
Always for Vegas.
So I walk out and I said, you know, it's funny that I'm here. You know how many years they've been trying to get me in this building?
Yeah.
The whole audience fell apart.
So that was another crazy just statistic, is that you basically, I think it was 23 indictments you beat.
23 federal indictments. Yeah.
I mean, God, that's some record. So when Vegas finally had run its course, what did you do at that point?
I didn't run its course. I ran a course.
You know what I'm saying? When you left Vegas, what did you do with yourself at that point?
I started making motion pictures.
That was it, straight to Hollywood lifestyle. Which
Yeah.
just me, it was.
I married this gorgeous girl, the fourth person I ever married. Had 2 children with her. She's the only person that had 2 children. And then
your fourth marriage.
my 4th marriage.
What are you up to now?
No,
That was it?
That was it. Yeah, but she was in fact, she was the last. I had 10 mothers to my kids at that point. She was the 10th mother, but a married woman, amazing woman.
That's what you called it.
What?
That was your last.
Well, I didn't do it.
That was your last kid.
My last 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I was forced to leave the country again. They tried to bring me in. You know Chris Paciello. He became a stool pigeon against Gotti and a couple of people.
Name sounds familiar.
He ran the nightclubs in Miami for them. And all.
Pacello? Chris Pacello?
Yeah,
He's still down there.
I know.
Okay. I don't want to
Well, he made a deal, and I knew him. He knew me, and he was driving for some friends of mine, and he was trying to make a deal. Him and his brother got caught robbing a bank. Don't ask me why they robbed the bank. He had everything going, and I always had my lawyers registered.
What does that mean?
Well, like if you're going to come and get me, the FBI has to call my lawyer.
Okay.
Said, have your client turn himself in. We want to bring him in for questioning.
So they have to go through your lawyer.
So Barry would call me, Slotnick, and I said, I'm out of the country. He said, where are you this time? I said, I'm in Italy. I went to Italy. I wait for see, And unless they serve you, you're not a fugitive. So I never get served. And I just wait for the grand jury to go out. The grand jury was for John Gotti.
And
This kid was,
you got roped into it.
I got roped in as a witness of something Chris said he saw, that I saw. So they wanted somebody of credibility to verify what he was saying.
But you just waited it out in Italy.
Hello.
Yeah.
No, I was on my boat now. I had a 148-foot Riva. Forget about it.
Not a bad place.
You didn't know where I
hang out.
was. No, I used to fly to Madeira, Spain. Nobody even knew the boat was there because I registered my boat in my captain's name. You can never find this boat.
No.
No, 28-foot beam. Forget about it.
Shit. I want to see pictures of that. Do you have pictures of the boat anywhere? Where can we pull it up? I want to see this.
Oh, I don't know if you have any pictures here.
I'm saying, like, do you have it? Is there somewhere online I can look it up?
No.
Is it on your Instagram or
No.
anything? Or no?
No, you know why? It was under the radar.
I got you.
I bought that boat cash when I was 21 for $3 million.
Yeah,
21.
nice. Can't do nothing with cash nowadays.
No.
What was the captain's name?
What?
I don't know if you want to say.
No, I don't know. Yeah, why don't I just open? Why don't I just empty my vault and leave the money here too?
Oh man. So I have a couple. We have a segment we do every episode where beforehand I ask, are there any questions people want to ask? So I have a couple questions I want to get that I had from people who wanted me to ask you things.
Oh, please. Perfect.
Oh, I can't believe the amount of stories we touched on already, and it's actually unbelievable. But okay, questions from people following the Instagram. You already touched on this, but it was, how was it meeting Pablo Escobar and how did it feel when he recognized you? That must have just been relief.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? It's funny because it's happened before, but in this situation,
Never with Pablo Escobar, right?
never
Where
with
are you?
Pablo Escobar caliber. But the thing is that I just had to get out of there, and I didn't know what I really didn't think I was going to get out.
And that moment must have been like, there's my shot.
But then again, I thought it wasn't.
Yeah.
For the minute, we had a nice dinner, but I knew the guy's nuts.
It doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
This is more of a statement. He's so handsome. I won't say the name in case she's married, but that was one of the comments from a woman on here.
Oh.
He's so handsome.
Who's she talking about? You or me?
You. If you could relive any year of your life or any time period of your life to experience it again, what would it be? Which period of your life?
At the time at the Vatican, I don't know why I loved being at the Vatican. I was there almost 3 years straight.
Yeah, we didn't really touch on that too much. So you just kind of told me the purpose there. So it was just money to the Vatican?
Yeah.
What in the Vatican? Was that the Pope?
No, Bishop Marcinkus. He was the head fiduciary. See, people don't realize the Vatican Bank.
Its own country, the Vatican.
I know.
Yeah.
That's right.
People don't know that. It's crazy.
Hello. That's right. I was a courier for that. Bonded by Lloyd's of London. The FBI could stop me at Nevada Airport, and I got $10 million on me. Can't stop me. I got a letter. It's going to the Vatican. No, that went on for a long time.
How long? So you said 3 years back and forth to the Vatican?
No, I'm saying the 3 years I spent that much time there. It was over a period of 3 different popes.
You would stay.
I was doing that long.
Would you stay at the Vatican?
No.
I've been there as a kid, but I don't remember what it's like over there.
No, I used to stay in the Ambasciatore Hotel, and then I was good friends with Gianni Agnelli. Gianni Agnelli owned Fiat Motor Company. He taught me how to dress. He brought all this color into my life. In fact, he gave me this watch, and we were friends forever. And he had an apartment on the Parco dei Principi in the Villa Borghese. So if he was there, I couldn't stay there. I'd stay right down the block from him.
Sure, it's a nice pad.
Yeah.
Out of all the mobsters and gangsters and guys that you encountered, who was the toughest, most ruthless, and most feared gangster out of anyone you ever encountered?
I can't even say because he's my friend and he just got out. And he's feared.
So out of ones that are no longer with us, who's the toughest you ever encountered?
A guy called Grappa out of Sicily. In fact, I brought Bobby De Niro to go meet him. He wanted to meet him. He's been in hiding. And Bobby was doing a movie. Why I say this guy is the toughest guy. When he was 16 years old in Sicily, they caught him, handcuffed him to a light post while he ran after the other kids. When they came back, he cut his own arm off at his wrist. His forearm and hand was there. And they used to call him the one-arm bandit after that.
What the fuck?
That's a tough guy.
That's a psychopath.
Look up that
How
guy.
bad was the charge? I hope it was a murder charge to cut your own hand off. Jesus Christ. Grappa, his name was?
Yeah, Grappa, strong. The Grappa.
Uh-huh.
That was his nickname.
Unbelievable.
I took Bobby to see him. We flew on Bobby's plane to see him.
How's Robert De Niro?
He's a little confused right now, I think.
Yeah, it breaks my heart because he's
The last
best.
3 or 4 years, I don't know what went through. I mean, I know he got taken down for like 22 million.
I just feel like he had like what they call it TDS, is Trump derangement syndrome. It's just some people get really way too obsessed with the former president and just like kind of lose their mind.
Yeah, and that's when I cut ties with him. I mean, I used to be with him a lot.
He's the best. He's arguably the best actor of all time. I mean, he's on my Mount Rushmore as far as actors go, and it's
Right.
just it's hard sometimes when he's so vocal about politics. I just want people to just take a step back.
You know, I told him
Let people
something.
enjoy your art.
But you know, it's funny because I had the last conversation I had with Bobby. I said, Bobby, why are you getting so political? Remember what happened to Jane Fonda? Because she got so political.
Yeah.
But then she married the guy who owned CNN, and then she started doing exercise videos, made more money than ever. So I don't know about his. I don't even want to get into his personal life, but Jesus, he's really screwed up.
Yeah. It happens.
Unfortunately.
Can you ask him how many scenes is from my good friend? He loved the scene of you and James Coleman, the fight scene after you had beaten up the sister, and in the famous fight scene in the street.
Oh yeah.
How many takes did that take? He wants to know. What was it like filming that?
Well, that was a great scene, but you know, to me, Jimmy, I mean, we choreographed that for a whole day. For you know, I was not an actor. I didn't know he had a camera mark here, this point, that. And then we had it all ready to go. And then all of a sudden, as soon as Jimmy pulls up, which is not in the rehearsal, he throws a bat at me, hits me right in the head. He must have been practicing all night. And then he throws me over the railing. I'm all padded up. Through the pads, he chipped my elbow with that. There was steel garbage pail covers there.
Yeah, that's so funny you said that, because that was when we watched it last night. And I'm like, that fucking garbage can he hit him with, that's no WWF can. That looked like a real can.
And we chipped my elbow. And don't forget, I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, wow, this is crazy.
And you wanted to punch him
And
back,
now
I'm
I'm
sure.
looking forward to, I got to crawl out of here. And in rehearsals, he just touched me, drop kicking me, and I rolled over. He picked me up and broke 2 ribs on me.
Yeah.
I'm laying there in that hydrant saying, remember never to do a fight scene again.
So you had a chipped elbow and broken
And
ribs from
2
that
broken
scene.
ribs.
So I'm assuming they only shot that scene once.
Well, no, because it's like a football injury.
What's that
You
mean?
kept doing it. You know, you do it and you don't know.
Oh shit! But you had to do that scene multiple times.
Yeah, we did it. We
Holy
did.
shit!
Well, we didn't get to the fire hydrant. We didn't get to the broken ribs till last because they would cut there because then they'd have to do a whole makeup change and everything because they would roll into the water.
Yeah.
But over the railing and all that, we did that 2 or 3 times.
I love that scene too. And then the same guy, Paul says, do you realize that you had a great role in the greatest movie of all time? There is no doubt. More of a statement. And Big Boys NYC wants to know, can we get some more crazy Vegas stories that's mob or cartel related? Anything else crazy went down out there that we can talk about?
I know that we could talk. We can't talk about it.
Maybe
No.
after we have to.
There was so many. All I could say is that the mob guys I knew in Vegas, they all had hefty bags and a 50-pound bag of lime in their trunks.
In case at any given moment they had to fucking dig a hole in the desert, I guess.
Because I didn't realize that you could put a human body in a bag with a 50-pound bag of lime. Your body fluids would activate the lime. And in about 5 days, the bag would bowl across the desert.
Just disintegrate.
Yeah. So they say they don't even know how many people are buried out in the desert because you can never solve a mafia problem, organized crime problem within the city limits. It was an unwritten law.
What all the families agreed?
Well, yeah, because every hotel, if you go down the strip,
They all owned one, right?
they all own one.
That's Chicago's hotel. That's St.
Yeah.
Louis. That's New York.
And
This
some
family, that family.
Chicago actually had 3.
Oh shit.
But New England had the Dunes. St. Louis had the Aladdin.
Chicago had 3. Well, that's actually that's what a lot of people don't realize is that the movie Casino, they made it about in the movie it's New York guys. But
Chicago.
the real story
It's all about
it's all
Chicago.
Chicago guys. There's Nicky.
No New York. No.
What was Nicky's real name? Nicky Santoro?
No,
That was the movie. What was his
Tony
name?
Spilotro is his real name.
That was the guy. That was the
The crazy who played the
Pesci.
Pesci, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pesci, I mean. Pesci's people cut my house in half with guns on a Sunday. They were nuts.
Real Pesci or the guy with
I
Spilotro?
mean, Spilotro, not Pesci.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Pesci ain't gonna shoot nobody up. Forget about it. Although him, Jimmy Connell, they think they're mob guys, you know.
They think you said?
They carry themselves right now like they're really mob guys. They played so many mob guys.
They lost it.
They're obsessed with this.
Well,
Jimmy Conn still thinks he's Sonny Corleone.
what happened with Spilotro though?
Spilotro
That's a
crossed the
Vegas beef.
line. Yeah. And they called him in. That's how Sam Giancana got killed. Sam appointed him out there. Tony Accardo was always the Alfred boss. He stepped down from every day and they gave it to Sam. But nobody was the boss. When Accardo took over after Nitti, see, Frank Nitti and Accardo were Capone's bodyguards.
Yeah, that I know.
Frank Nitti committed suicide.
I did not know that. What
Hi-
happened to him?
If you read my book, Nick Nitti, that's his son. Him and I were the Coreys. He was for Chicago. I was for the rest of the world.
The rest of the world.
I'm small.
No, that's just a.
Yeah.
It's
No, but Nick had the connection with the Vatican long before me. But and John Nitti, his grandson, I talk to him almost every Sunday. He calls me out of respect.
he's still a normal guy.
Oh yeah, well he's around Chicago.
Just it's a weird time period now. Just like people talk about it sometimes. I remember as a kid, like I would caught the tail end of that whole just era. I guess it was a century long, but like still remember as a kid, like it'd be rumblings in like in the neighborhood, or you're hanging out, you're out somewhere, like oh his uncle's a made guy, or he's connected, this, that, and the third, and that just almost doesn't exist anymore. Like it just and the power.
Well, what's happened now. It went back to what it used to be. It's a secret organization.
Because the feds are so far up everyone's ass that no one can really.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What was the other question? We had one more on there. No, everything else we pretty much touched on. What other projects you have in the works right now? Because I know you're a man of many hats. I know you mentioned you have a vodka, you have the book, Hollywood Godfather that's out. Everyone can find on Amazon. What's the name of the vodka?
Don Corleone.
Don Corleone vodka. The
We're
olive
coming
oil,
out with Prohibition booze.
the olive oil. What kind of alcohol is that?
It's all what I did now, because what we found out with the vodka is very high end vodka, and to get ships in from Italy now, we're having a lot of problems
Because of the pandemic.
because of the pandemic and all the ports. If one person on the ship
The whole thing
has
shut down.
COVID, the ship stays out there. So we're getting. So I'm saying, plus they put a bigger tariff on imports. So unbeknownst to me, I'm visiting my son Anthony up there, and I'm talking to some people, and I'm partners with a guy that I really like, and I needed him because Craig Allen, he owns All Star Wines and Spirits. He's a big
Distributor.
He buys 200 cases. No, liquor store. That's how big his store is.
Oh shit!
He bought 200 cases for Christmas of my vodka.
My buddy JoJo's like a vodka enthusiast. I gotta get him a bottle.
But the interesting thing, so with that, I got licensed to sell through him, and we're in 42 states selling liquor online.
And it uses has it used Corleone's face? Like it's like a brand like that.
right. Oh yeah.
So you have all the rights from the Godfather movie to do that.
Well,
stuff.
I don't. A company that I'm involved with.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
You know,
Yeah.
But and the good news about that, we just renewed our licenses for 2 17-year extensions.
Wow.
I'm very optimistic I'll live to 120. But
God bless. I hope so. I hope it lives at 200.
But I'm proud of my clothing line.
What kind of clothes is it? Suits?
It's called La Cosa Mia by Gianni. This is one of them. Everything's matching. The linings match the pocket squares.
Beautiful jacket.
But all of this stuff. And you ready for this? $159.
Really?
Shoes, $159.
Where could they find that?
We're going to come out first. Well, creating an online store will be ready April 1st.
Okay.
And then we have an offer from Dillard's, 380 their stores, which is a huge purchase order.
Yeah.
So we're doing
Is it
that.
available anywhere now for people watching or not yet?
No.
Okay.
April
Well,
1st.
stay tuned for that. We'll
April
post the link
1st
when it
for
comes
La
out.
Casa Mia.
You were saying that you had olive oil and balsamic too. Is that?
Oh, yeah.
Is that Don Corleone
Yeah, it's Corleone.
olive oil?
All you have to do is, if you, any of the audience, go to Corleone Fine Italian website.
We'll put the link below end of the video.
Yeah, and it's go there. You can buy the vodka there too.
Yeah, Joe, pull it up. And that's so you can buy all the products on there.
Yeah, it's all the products are online right now.
What's the name of the website again?
Corleone Fine Italian.
Joe, can you pull it up? CorleoneFineItalian.com. I want to take a look at this. What are the projects you got in the works right now? What can we look forward to? What can everyone listening look forward to?
What I'm looking forward to, I was asked to write another book, and I don't know
How many books have you written so far?
Just this one.
That was the first book.
But this is still 2 years. It's still selling, and it's all over the world. So they asked me to do a book called Sinatra and Me because of my life with Sinatra. I met him when I was 14 in the Copa until he died. He baptized my last son Luciano,
Wow.
and
Was he the godfather of your son?
my son Luciano.
That's something else.
Yeah. So, but I don't know if I can do that.
Why?
But you know what? There's certain people like Grace Kelly. I was so friendly with Grace. I eliminated her in my book. In fact,
What do you mean?
because I just couldn't talk about her.
Too personal?
Yeah, too personal. And she was such a great lady. And her kids are alive. I know Prince Albert and all these kids. So am I going to throw this lady? And in fact, it was a big
Understood.
article in the New York Post. Richard Johnson wrote it. And he said to me, why didn't you write about Grace Kelly? I know you knew her. I said, me writing about Grace Kelly would be like writing about the Blessed Mother.
Like Princess Diana or something.
Yeah,
It's
you can't.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
understand. Understood.
So I don't know. But I mean, I'm very interested in this 10-hour miniseries. My team is insane.
Yeah, it sounds like you have some.
And
crew.
my podcast, I have 114 hours now. So they're
That's
saying
also the Hollywood Godfather. Right?
Hollywood Godfather podcast, yeah.
We will put that also in the. That isn't the site, is it? I see on the left there on the bottom of the screen. Google it, Joe. Corleone. What was it?
Yeah,
Corleone
yeah.
Fine Italian?
Corleone Fine Italian.
Fine Italian. I'm sorry.
Corleone Fine Italian. You'll see it. You'll see the products.
We'll put all the links below for everywhere people can
This is
find
why
you.
you could do all this.
But this is a great broadcast system, so it's live. Like I said, when people are watching this, whatever we see on the screen, I can see how he pulls that up.
See, that's
They're gonna see that on the
there's a
podcast.
source right there.
That's pretty fucking cool. This is Clemenza's
I got Clemenza's meat sauce in the jar.
Clemenza's meat sauce. Unbelievable. We need to get some of this for the house.
There's the balsamic in the black bottle.
I gotta get my father's gonna like that. I have my niece was just born like 7 months ago, my sister's daughter, and I'm the godfather.
Oh,
And
that's
that's how she announced it to me. I wish I would have brought it down. It's upstairs. I'll show you after. But when she told me, she invited me over to my mother's house, and we were sitting there hanging out. I'm holding the baby. She's taking a picture, and she hands me like a box. And I didn't know what was going on. I opened it, and it was a box that says within the logo, like it was an official Godfather, like the movie,
Oh, wow.
glass. I'm like, oh, this is cool. But I just thought it was like a gimmicky gift. Like I didn't think I'm just like, she goes, you get it? And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? She goes, you're the Godfather. I'm like, holy
Oh,
shit.
wow, that's great.
Now it's
What
my
an
favorite,
honor.
my favorite glass now. Yeah, I love it, and I
What
love
an
my
honor.
niece.
That's great.
Yeah, unbelievable. But so
Here's the vodka
what is?
right there in that black bottle.
Oh shit, looks like wine. I like that.
It's a black bottle.
I like it.
It's quadruple distilled. It's never gotten under a 91 rating. The water is sourced from the Italian Alps.
We need to get some martinis going this weekend.
It's probably the smoothest alcohol you'll ever drink.
Love to try it. So the funny tagline, and it just sums up basically the legendary story that you're still writing to this day, is, and I saw it because I had seen briefly from the Vlad TV interview you did,
Oh my God.
was that you got acting lessons from Marlon Brando, singing lessons from Frank Sinatra, and learned to be a man from Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. Nobody can say that anymore.
No, that's quite a trifecta. I can't even imagine what the modern day version of that would be. It'd be like losing your virginity to Beyonce,
Oh my
learning how
God,
to
no
sing
way.
from. I don't even know. I don't even know. I can't even think of an equal to that.
But you know what I did that I'm really proud of? I turned my book into a musical. And
I did not know that.
and
Recently?
so recent, I did the first show. Mohegan Sun bought it for 9 of their properties on March 7th of last year.
Ugh, the timing.
I opened it. No, I opened it at Niagara Falls View. I couldn't believe it. I pulled up. I'll send you the picture. I pulled up. They had a 12-story photograph of me on the outside of the building, leaning on the building. I sold out in 2 weeks, 1,500 seats. I went and did the show. I wrote it myself. I bought all the film clips. I take you chronologically through my life, but I bought the film clips of Marilyn Monroe.
You're doing it though, like you're sitting there personally narrating it.
No, I do it.
Like
I'm on
you're there.
stage.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
I
amazing.
just sing it.
But you had to cut it because of the pandemic.
Right now, but then I have to go. I'll be in resorts soon. I know that because they're starting out. They're thinking about October coming back.
You gotta get a Vegas show.
Oh yeah,
It's made for a Vegas
well,
show.
they do all the entertainment for the Venetian,
Okay.
and what I'm really interested in. They're going to Athens, Greece. If you look it up right now, Mohegan Sun is opening this summer.
In Athens?
$1 billion casino.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Athens was.
So these are all the
alright.
things
It
I
was cool. I
want
had a
to
good
still
time
be doing.
It's awesome, man. You like I said, you lived an amazing life. It sounds like you're still fucking going. You're still just pushing, and that's what I
Yeah.
like to see. And it's amazing that you. That's kind of what the Fresh Perspective. One of the things I love highlighting in this show is just people who take, not so great situations and turn them to something else. And you got dealt a shitty hand a bunch of times, and somehow through perseverance, a little bit of luck,
That's
and
it,
just
man.
never seeming to want to quit.
A lot of prayers too, though.
A lot of prayers, but you somehow came out on top on some unbelievable, seemingly unsurmountable situations. So that's amazing.
You know.
I can't think of a better way to wrap it up than on that note. It was a pleasure having you. The stories you heard here today were unbelievable. It's gonna be tough to follow this up. I don't know who the hell I'm gonna have on next. I might take a week off. I had John Joseph on last week, and between that and this, I need a break, I think. But I appreciate you coming out and taking the time
No,
today.
thank you. Appreciate
And
it. Thank
everything
you.
was awesome. And yeah, we'll put all the links below to where we can find Gianni Russo. Gianni Russo, we're gonna have you, for all his products you're looking to buy, his podcast, his book. We'll put all the links below, and maybe we'll have you on again one day.
Please.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Really.
Seriously,
really
thank you. It was a
appreciate
great
No, thank
time.
you.
Everybody, we'll see you again maybe in 2 weeks. Have a good night or a good day whenever this airs.